Chapter 2943. Mion, so that's how you think of me. Hua Xiqian's eyes were a little dazed and even a little helpless. What else did you think? Huamin stared at him viciously. I thought that even if you don't like me, you'd at least think that we're connected. After all, we've known each other for so many years. Are you proud that we've known each other for so many years? I've known my high school classmates for so many years, including Wei Dong and the others. Huamin looked nonchalant. I thought that you'd see my true feelings after all these years. Hua Xiqian looked like a wronged child. Don't talk to me about your true feelings. True feelings are only valuable when they're cherished by others. If you force yourself on others, that's not true feelings. That's just selfishness. I see. Hua Xiqian looked slightly disappointed. So, Hua Xiqian, let me go and let yourself go. We're both tired after all these years. You've been pestering me for so long. You must be tired too. I've been under a lot of pressure because of you. Let's not interfere with each other anymore, okay? Mion, I'll take you away.
No.
If you take me away, it'll only be the beginning of the tragedy. Huamin shook her head. She would never go with Hua Xiqian. Mion, you don't understand. If I don't take you away, you're dead. I know. You want to say that Ian is looking for me, right? Huamin knew that Ian was looking for her ever since he found out about her true identity. You don't understand Ian's methods. Do you think I'm cruel enough? He's 10,000 times crueler than me. Lu Yan is so strong, but Ian still hunted her down for years. Hua Xiqian tried to explain to Huamin how terrifying Ian was. If I go with you, because I'm scared, what about my husband and daughters? If you go, they'll be safe. If you stay, they'll be in danger. They'll be dragged down by you. Are you trying to brainwash me? Should I thank you for taking me away? You've indirectly saved me, Huamin's thoughts were exceptionally clear. Hua Xiqian had to admit that he was always able to grasp the key points at the first moment. I just don't want you to get hurt. Let's go to a place where we'll be alone and live a peaceful life. Hua Xiqian, I won't be able to live in peace if I'm with you. My love is only for my husband and children. Hua Xiqian, what you're doing is pushing yourself into a dead end. My husband won't give up looking for me. When that happens, neither of us will benefit. Why do you have to listen to me? It's too late to turn back now. Huamin had always felt that he wanted to leave a way out for himself and the other party. Therefore, he wanted to persuade Hua Xiqian to stop before the tragedy happened. Turn back? Haha, we can't turn back. Many years ago, when I first saw you at the Hua family, I knew that there was no turning back. Mion, do you believe me? If I had another chance to choose again, I would still do the same. Even if you think I hurt you and you hate me to death, I would still do it, Hua Xiqian said stubbornly. Why do you have to do this? It's getting late. Mion, you should change into a beautiful wedding dress, Hua Xiqian said as he pointed at the wedding dress in the car. No, I won't wear it. She wouldn't change into a normal dress, let alone a wedding dress. Don't force me. You know I can't bear to do that to you. Hua Xiqian's eyes darkened. Chapter 2944. Hua Xiqian's gaze made Huamin feel afraid for the first time. She knew that there was nothing she could say to change the situation. Hua Xiqian had completely lost his mind. If she really wanted to continue this confrontation, it would not be a wise choice. If she jumped off a cliff, she might not have the chance to see Qin Chu and the children again. What past and present life? It was all bullshit. She didn't even understand this life. After thinking about it, Huamin decided to beat him at his own game and find an opportunity to escape. At least there was hope if she was alive. Okay, I'll wear it. Don't come over, I'll change myself. Finally, Huamin gave in. Very good. I'm pleasantly surprised that you're so obedient. Hua Xiqian smiled slightly. Then, Huamin got into the car and locked the door. At this moment, she even considered whether she should lock the door from the inside and call Qin Chu for help. But this thought was immediately rejected by him. First of all, Hua Xiqian had the key to the car. Even if he didn't have the key, he could just smash the window with a rock. The glass wasn't bulletproof. Second of all, there was no cell phone or communication device in the car. It was impossible to call Qin Chu for help. If she angered Huasiqian, he would do something even more extreme. After thinking about it, Huamin decided to follow Huasiqian's request and obediently change into the so-called wedding dress. On the rugged mountain road in the south, Qin Chu's off-road vehicle sped along the steep mountain road. His heart had long been suspended in his throat. Huamin's whereabouts were more important to him than anyone else. He was sure that no one could understand his current state of mind. Now that Huamin, who was pregnant with her second child, was missing, to him, it was a blow to the head. At this moment, his phone rang. He wanted to turn it off, but when he saw that the caller ID said, "Darling eldest daughter," he couldn't help but pick it up. Qin Chu put on his Bluetooth headset. She adjusted her mood and said, "Hey, Pudding. Daddy, where are you?" "Outside." "Mommy, is there any news?" "I have a clue. I'm on my way to look for it." "Really?" Pudding seemed very happy. "Yes." "Daddy, I'm so worried. I don't want to stay at Grandma Sue's house anymore. My sister and I want to go with you to find Mommy." "No, it's too dangerous." "But Daddy, we're really not in the mood to do anything." Little sister didn't even eat desserts. Grandma Sue bought her a lot of food, but she didn't eat a single bite. "Me too. I didn't even eat dinner. I really can't eat. We're getting anxious waiting like this." "Pudding, Daddy is no longer in the city. He can't pick you up." "Is Handsome Sue with Daddy?" Pudding asked. "Yes." "Okay, Handsome Sue is there too." "You're all there," Pudding said quietly. "Okay, I promise. I'll bring Mommy back safely, okay?" Qin Chu coaxed his daughter gently. "Okay, I know Daddy doesn't like to brag. He'll definitely do what he says," Pudding said. "Yes, so, baby, please trust Daddy with your sister. Okay, we believe in Daddy." "Okay, I'll hang up now. Daddy's still driving." "Daddy, you have to be careful." "Be careful." Pudding didn't forget to remind him. His daughter's heartwarming words comforted Qin Chu. After hanging up, they continued on their way. "I found it." "Chu, is it really Yuang Mountain?" "There are signs of activity at the top of the mountain." The satellite scanned the body heat. Could Huamin be there? Gao Ran's excited voice came from the walkie-talkie. Chapter 2945. I think so. Qin Chu suppressed the joy in his heart and nodded in response. "Holy shit, that's great. We didn't waste our time." Tang Chuan slammed his hand on the steering wheel to express his indescribable joy. Then, he connected his earpiece and called Qin Ning to tell her the news. "I knew it. Cheng wouldn't lie. It looks like we really got something this time." Wei Liao also laughed. They all had walkie-talkies in the car. Because they weren't far from each other, everyone could hear what they were saying. After hearing the news, they were all very happy and chimed in to express their opinions. Su Yu was the only one who didn't say anything. "Lord Su, are you still breathing?" Tang Chuan asked with a smile. "Fuck you. You're the one who's dead," Su Yu replied. "Then say something. We should be happy that we found the person. Sister-in-law must be scared out of her wits." Tang Chuan laughed. "I'm just thinking, could it be?" Su Yu deliberately paused. "Could it be what?" "Say it." "Lord Su, why are you being so wishy-washy?" Tang Chuan thought it was strange. Qin Chu listened carefully to Su Yu's opinion. After all, Su Yu's brain wasn't just for show. "I'm thinking we got the news so easily. Could it be a trap?" Su Yu said. "Lord Su, what do you mean? Are you saying that Huasiqian is afraid that the person there is a fake? Are you saying that Huasiqian deliberately lured us away?" Wei Liao's heart sank. "I'm not sure. I have a feeling that Huasiqian wouldn't have let us find him so easily. He shouldn't have made such a mistake," Su Yu said. "Lord Su, you're overthinking. Huasiqian is powerful, but he's not a god. We really don't have to lower our morale and praise others." To be honest, Gao Ran wasn't happy to hear Su Yu's words. It wasn't easy for him to find some information on the map. If it was fake, then they would be wasting their efforts. "I'm not lowering our morale. I just think that we should be careful. If Huamin is there, of course it's good. But what if he's not? We have to plan our next step," Su Yu said. At this moment, Qin Chu, who had been quiet all this time. "Su Yu is right. Let's hurry up and go up the mountain to see what's going on. Let's end this quickly. Whether or not Huamian is at the top of the mountain, we can't continue fighting. Qin Shu and Suyu reached a consensus, which was rare. Naturally, no one else had any objections. At the top of the mountain, after changing into the wedding dress, Huamian slowly opened the car door and walked out. At that moment, Huasiqian's eyes widened. To be exact, he was stunned. He had imagined Huamian wearing this wedding dress countless times, but he was still shocked when he saw it with his own eyes. You? He didn't even know what to say. Huamian was sleeping when she was kidnapped, so her face was very clear without any makeup. Although it wasn't delicate, it was more natural. With her long hair over her shoulders, she slowly walked out of the car in a pure white wedding dress. Seeing this scene, Huasiqian was so excited that he almost cried. One day, he would be able to see the woman he loved put on a wedding dress for him. I already did as you said, Huamian said angrily. Mian, don't you think this wedding dress looks familiar? Huasiqian chuckled. Huamian looked down and took a closer look. It really did look familiar. Chapter 2946. Is this the same dress Yen Ruashi wore when you married her? Huamian suddenly remembered that this wedding dress was exactly the same as the one Yen Ruashi wore. You're right, but you're also wrong. The one Yen Ruashi wore was a replica. Even the crystals and diamonds were man-made. Yours is the real deal. It cost 12 million yuan. Huasiqian smiled in satisfaction. Huamian was a little dumbfounded. She lowered her head and looked at the ordinary-looking wedding dress again. Perhaps it was because there were no spotlights or anything like that, so it didn't look very fancy. After hearing Huasiqian's words, she realized that there were indeed a lot of crystals and diamonds embedded in the hem of the dress. Huasiqian wouldn't lie. It seemed like this 12 million yuan wedding dress was the real deal. Mian, think carefully. Where have you seen this wedding dress before? Huasiqian crossed his arms and looked at the beautiful Huamian carefully. Huamian didn't say anything, but she was really trying to remember. Because when she and Qin Shu went to Huasiqian's wedding, she said that Yen Ruashi's wedding dress looked very familiar. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember. However, after Huasiqian reminded her today, some memories did come back to her. Huamian carefully searched for information about this wedding dress in her mind. Suddenly, she felt a light bulb flash in her head, and she remembered everything. This wedding dress is it the one you won an award for in school? Huamian suddenly looked up and asked Huasiqian. You finally remembered? Huasiqian's smile was enigmatic. Huamian felt goosebumps all over her body. She carefully recalled that when she was in school, Huasiqian seemed to have won the first prize for a beautiful and gorgeous wedding dress in a school-wide design competition. At that time, it was rumored that a wedding photography studio had taken a fancy to it and wanted to buy the rights to the wedding dress. In the end, Huasiqian didn't sell it. At that time, there were actually many girls who had a crush on Huasiqian. On the surface, he was the young master of the Hu family. Even if he was adopted, he was still of noble birth. His attire was elegant, his manner of speech was refined, and his manners were elegant. After that, no one mentioned the wedding dress anymore. Huamian had only seen the original design of the wedding dress on the school's bulletin board. At that time, she was still wondering if Huasiqian was a pervert. Why would he design a woman's dress? Moreover, it was a wedding dress. Who would have thought that today, after so many years, she would finally have the opportunity to see the real thing with her own eyes? Moreover, it was an exorbitant price. Huamian suddenly didn't know what to say. Huasiqian slowly approached her, with a crazy infatuation in his eyes. Back then, when I hand-drew this wedding dress, I thought that one day, you would be able to wear it for me. Sure enough, no one in the world is more suitable for this wedding dress than you. Huamian was silent. Mian, do you believe it? After so many years, no woman can make my heart waver, except for you. After speaking, Huasiqian reached out to touch Huamian's cheek. However, Huamian dodged. Take your dirty hands away, don't touch me. Huamian frowned angrily. I almost forgot about your temper. Don't worry. Come, let's go eat. Qian seemed to never be able to get angry at Huimin if other women said something wrong. He would get angry and slap them, however. No matter how much Huimin said to provoke him, he couldn't bear to be angry at her. Qian felt that Huimin was the only disaster in his life. Mian, do you know how long I've been waiting for this moment? Qian whispered into Huimin's ear. Chapter 2947. Downtown, Sky Blessing Court. Yang Meirong was watching TV in the living room when she suddenly panicked. Mom, what's wrong? Jixin saw that his mother was uncomfortable and immediately sat up. I don't know. I'm very nervous. How can that be? Is it too hot in the room? I'll turn on the air conditioner. No. Jixin, sit down. Yes, Mom. Your sister hasn't been back recently? Yang Meirong said. Isn't she too busy? She's on leave recently and is tired enough to take care of the twins at home. No. She would usually send me WeChat messages and call me even if she doesn't come for a few days, but she hasn't come at all recently. Maybe she's busy. There's still a great aunt at home. My sister has a lot of people at home. It's not like you don't know. At this moment, Jixin still didn't know that his sister had been taken away. I sent her a WeChat message an hour ago, but she didn't reply. Sigh, maybe my sister is taking a shower or cooking in the kitchen. No, this hasn't happened before. Mom, what do you want? You're so weird. It's so scary. Jixin looked at his mother, who was clutching her chest and panting as she talked about his sister. He felt that it was very strange. Jixin, call your sister. Oh, okay. Jixin picked up his phone and dialed, however, no one picked up after a long time. No one picked up. Wait, I'll call the landline at home. Then, Jixin dialed again. This time, South Hill Manor's butler, Uncle Lee, picked up. Oh, I see. Okay, I got it. He hung up. Yang Meirong quickly asked her son, how is it? What did he say? My sister and brother-in-law aren't home. They went out. Where did they go? I don't know. The butler picked up. That's not right. I didn't hear that their whole family went out. Yang Meirong became more and more flustered. Don't worry, I'll call my brother-in-law and we'll know. Then, Jixin called Qin Chu. Qin Chu was climbing a steep hill and wasn't in the mood to pick up the phone. So the phone rang for a long time, but no one picked up. Now, even Jixin felt strange. This is really strange. Why isn't brother-in-law picking up the phone? Could it be that something has really happened? After Jixin said this, Yang Meirong's breathing became more and more rapid. I've been feeling uneasy tonight. I've been worried that something might have happened to your sister. Why can't I contact the whole family now? Your sister is missing, the children are missing, and even Qin Chu is missing. What's going on? Yang Meirong cried as she spoke. Mom, calm down. You have to calm down. I'll think of another way. I'll call Sister Lingling and ask her. Jixin patiently called Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling. However, none of them knew that Huimin was missing. Their husbands didn't mention it either. This time, Jixin and his mother panicked. Yang Meirong began to fidget and even wanted to call the police. Mom, don't be stupid. It takes time to call the police. How long will it take for them to go missing? Besides, my sister and brother-in-law are so smart. How could they go missing? Maybe the whole family really went on a trip. Jixin comforted his mother. I hope so. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Otherwise, how am I supposed to live? At the top of Yuewang Mountain, Huimin was forced to sit down at the dining table by Huixian. Huixian poured a glass of red wine for Huimin. I'm not drinking. It's not poisoned. Don't worry. I'm still not drinking. Huimin hadn't spat out alcohol since she was pregnant. How could she drink red wine? Mian, you don't seem to understand the situation. Do you think you have a choice in this situation? Huixian smiled coldly. Chapter 2948. Huixian, don't push me too far. Huimin couldn't take it anymore. Huixian chuckled and didn't say anything else. Tonight the moonlight is beautiful, isn't it? Huixian looked up and saw the moon hanging high in the sky, emitting a hazy light. Don't be sentimental with me. Whatever you say is meaningless to me. Right now, you're just a kidnapper and I'm a hostage. That's all. Huamin said rationally. Tieske. That's not romantic at all. My little sister, why are you as gentle and cute as a kitten when you're with Qin Chu, but you're like a little tiger when you're with me? That's because you've always been someone I hate. You were, you are, and you will always be. Good. It's an honor to be hated by you for the rest of your life. Huaxiqian, do you know how perverted you are? Huamin suddenly asked. I don't think so. Then do you know about the existence of that guy named Jack? At the mention of Jack's name, Huaxiqian's expression changed slightly. Mian, you sure know a lot. He smiled faintly. Of course, because I've seen Jack with my own eyes twice. Huamin looked at him seriously. So what? Jack only has a chance to come out when I forget to take my medicine. He can't control me at all. That idiot is crazy. Huaxiqian commented on his other side. Do you think that Jack and you are two different people? That you share the same body? Of course, what else do you think? Don't you think that Jack doesn't exist? That everything is just your imagination? That's just another you. What are you talking about? That's not me. How could I be so stupid and irritable? Huaxiqian obviously didn't like his other personality. If you deny your other self, you're indirectly denying yourself. Huaxiqian, look at you. You're already 30 years old. What a failure you are as a person. You can't even look at yourself in the eye. Huamin mocked. Psychological tactics? Psychological tactics? No, Mian, it's useless to play this game with me. I've known you all these years. Your intelligence, your wisdom, your indifference, and your indifference are all useless to me. Huaxiqian smiled. Huamin's words is, but on the inside, he's as downs. Crazy's crazy. He's teat. Testes. Huaxiqian knew Huamian well enough and didn't panic just because she said a few words. Huamin suddenly felt that it wasn't going to be easy to leave Huaxiqian's clutches this time. Huamian hoped that Qin Chu would find her as soon as possible so that he could save her and the baby in her belly. It's windy at the top of the mountain. I'll get you a jacket, Huaxiqian said as he got up and went back to the car to get a jacket. Huamin, on the other hand, began to observe their surroundings to see if there were any escape routes. Or maybe some weapons that could be used suddenly. Huamian glanced at the knife and fork that Huaxiqian was going to use to eat the steak. It was made of steel and looked very sharp. Huamin carefully held it in his hand and waited nervously. Then, Huaxiqian took out a black woolen coat, a man's coat, and walked over. He put it on Huamin's shoulders. This warm gesture didn't move Huamin. Instead, Huamin put a knife to his throat. Mian, don't be like this. It's not fun. Huaxiqian was still smiling calmly, as if he wasn't nervous at all. Chapter 2949. Huaxiqian, let me go right now. Huamin's eyes were filled with unprecedented seriousness and anger. Mian, don't mess around. I really don't want to hurt you. I'm threatening you right now. Can you please understand the situation? Huamin was exasperated. She had always been calm, but Huaxiqian, this psycho, was driving her crazy. She never thought that one day she would wear a wedding dress designed by Huaxiqian and have a candlelit dinner with him on this deserted mountaintop. What the hell? Then kill me. I don't plan on letting you go this time anyway. Huaxiqian's lips curled up slightly. You don't think that I don't dare. Then do it. Huaxiqian continued to smile. Huaxiqian, don't force me. Huamin was about to break down. She increased the force of her hand on his neck. Huaxiqian's neck began to bleed. Let me go. I don't want to kill you. No, just kill me. It's good to die in your hands. However, despite Huaxiqian's words, Huamin still couldn't bring herself to do it. After all, her hands were used to save people, and she never wanted to kill them. Even if they were bad people, she really couldn't bring herself to do it. However, Huaxiqian was still pushing her. Mian, you can't bring yourself to do it? Huaxiqian continued to provoke her. Huamin was extremely conflicted. She closed her eyes and wanted to stab him. At worst, she would be a murderer. However, she didn't feel guilty killing someone like this. Although she thought so, she still couldn't bring herself to do it. Mian, it's not good for you to be so soft-hearted. Here, I'll teach you what to do. After he finished speaking, Horsechian gripped Humin's hand tightly and used the knife to stab himself in the neck. Swoosh, blood splattered everywhere. Humin felt like his heart was about to stop beating at that moment. She would never have thought that Horsechian would do something so extreme. Looking at the blood on his neck slowly flowing down to his hand and the hilt of his saber, she suddenly felt nauseous and turned her head to retch. Yes, as a pregnant woman, she could no longer withstand such shock and excitement, let alone such a bloody scene. Surgeries were different from surgeries. The purpose of surgeries was to save lives, but the actions in front of him were to kill. Killing people was not as simple as killing chickens. After all, it was a living life. Humin admitted that regardless of whether the other party was Horsechian or someone else, she couldn't kill him with a clear conscience. She wasn't Liu Yan and hadn't been trained since she was young, so she was really terrified in the face of such a scene. Seeing Humin retching, Horsechian became even calmer. He pulled out a white gauze and unhurriedly wrapped the wound on his neck. He didn't use much strength just now, so the wound wasn't deep. However, such an exciting scene was indeed to scare Humin. Horsechian admitted that he did it on purpose. He just wanted to let Humin know his weakness. She couldn't do anything at all and couldn't kill him. Besides, with Humin's physique, he might not even be a match for Horsechian with a gun, let alone a knife. Horsechian was someone who could fight Suyu's personal bodyguard, and with his bare hands. Since you can't kill me, you should give up the idea. Don't play with knives casually in the future, okay? It's too dangerous. Horsechian walked closer to Humin and coaxed her like a child. Chapter 2950. Humin couldn't speak anymore. She squatted on the ground, trying to vomit but unable to do so. She looked like she was in great pain. Just then, Horsechian's phone rang. Hello? Boss, they're here.
Okay.
Do you want us to set up an ambush? No, of course not. I want to put on a good show. Horsechian smiled proudly. Then we'll stay on standby. Okay, just follow the original plan. After Horsechian hung up, he looked at Humin meaningfully. Mion, people are here to watch the wedding. Are you happy? Humin slowly turned around, not knowing what Horsechian meant. There will be a lot of people watching our grand wedding on the edge of a cliff. You have to do your best later. Humin didn't say anything. She would never know what kind of perverted move Horsechian would make next. Humin was scared out of her wits just now. If she wasn't pregnant, Humin really wanted to fight him to the death. It wasn't Humin's character to be led by the nose like this. Are you done? If you're done, let's move on to the next item. Horsechian stood behind Humin, holding something in his hand. Before Humin could react, Horsechian pulled her up. Then, something knocked on her hands. When she saw it clearly, she realized it was a pair of miniature handcuffs. They were very small, but very strong. Humin's hands were tightly locked together, and she couldn't move at all. She struggled with all her might, but she found that the handcuffs were getting closer and closer, and her wrists were hurting. Don't waste time, be obedient. Then, Horsechian saw the coat slip off and drape over Humin's body. Then she took out a bouquet of flowers from the car and placed it in her hand. After that, he covered the handcuffs on Humin's hands with fresh flowers. He wanted Humin to look like he was holding a bouquet of flowers with him. What kind of music do you like? How about the wedding march? I'm going to marry you today, okay? Horsechian tilted his head and asked, I'd rather die than marry you. Hey, don't say such ominous things on such a good day. I don't like it. Horsechian, don't you think you're being very childish? Humin felt that what he was doing was completely meaningless. No, I think it's very meaningful. Didn't I plan for so many years for this day?
Huh?
Cheer up, baby. This is our wedding. Seeing that Humin didn't say anything, Horsechian asked again. Since you don't like these two songs, then let's use Wedding of a Dream, even though it sounds sad. Then he used his phone to control the Bluetooth speakers. Richard Clayderman's Wedding of a Dream played from the two mini-stereos by the archway. The sad melody, accompanied by darkness, was like dancing on a cliff. Humin suddenly felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. She and Chin-Chu hadn't even had a wedding before. It was her first time wearing a wedding dress, but she had to rehearse a cliff wedding with Horsechian here. It was the biggest irony. Just then, the roaring sound of cars slowly approached. Look, they're here. Hua Xiqian pointed in the direction of the mountain road. 5 SUVs rushed up, and behind them was a mighty police car. After the car stopped, Qin Shu couldn't wait to jump out. When he saw Huamin standing at the edge of the cliff, he suddenly felt a lot more at ease. Honey, Huamin was instantly surprised and excited. Then, tears fell unknowingly. Yes, her husband was here to save her. Chapter 2951. Qin Shu didn't say anything, but his gaze was fixed on Huamin. He understood all of her grievances, all of her fear and hesitation. He could see it with a single glance. At this moment, Qin Shu only felt a deep sense of self-blame. If he hadn't been careless and taken precautions, she wouldn't have been switched at home. You guys came at the right time. My wedding with Sister Mian is lacking an audience. Hua Xiqian smiled. Fuck, you're a fucking pervert. You kidnapped someone else's wife to marry you? Tang Chuan couldn't help but curse. Then Wei Liao, Gao ran, and the others got out of the car as well. Suyu was the last to get out of the car. He first glanced at Huamin. When he saw the tears on her face, he felt as if someone had stabbed his heart. Yes, the fearless Suyu was most afraid of Huamin's tears. Huamin was a very strong person. When she wanted to cry, she rarely pretended to be weak to gain sympathy. Therefore, if she cried, she must be very sad. That was why Suyu's heart ached even more. Hua Xiqian, don't fart. Let her go, or I'll blow you up into ashes. Suyu was impatient.
He spoke bluntly.
Everyone's here today, Mian, all your friends are here. Then the wedding can begin. After speaking, Hua Xiqian reached out and put his arm around Huamin's shoulder as they walked towards the arched door. The two of them had their backs to them. Gao Ran immediately took out his gun and aimed at Hua Xiqian. Don't shoot. Qin Shu said.
Why?
Look at the clothes behind Mian. Qin Shu reminded him. At this moment, everyone saw that on the back of Huamin's black clothes, there was a small blinking thing. His intuition told him that it wasn't anything good either. As expected, Hua Xiqian stopped in his tracks and turned around with a smile. If you want to shoot me, go ahead. But if I die, the bomb on Mian's body will detonate within 30 seconds of my death. Even the best experts in the world can't defuse it in such a short time. So if you want to do this, I don't mind. No matter if it's in heaven or on earth, I'm happy as long as I can be with Mian. Hua Xiqian, fuck your mother. You despicable, shameless bastard. You're the scummiest person I've ever met, you piece of shit. Tang Chuan was so angry that he kept walking in circles. He wanted to curse Hua Xiqian with all the vicious words he could think of. As expected, Qin Shu had guessed correctly. He knew that Hua Xiqian would not reveal any flaws so easily. Therefore, if he dared to turn around so easily and turn his back to them, he should know that they wouldn't dare to shoot. I'm going to tear this scumbag apart with my bare hands, so you couldn't stay calm anymore. He threw his gun on the ground and was about to rush up and drag Huamin back. However, before he could take a few steps, Qin Shu pulled him back. Don't go, Qin Shu said. Fuck, what time is it? She's your wife. Qin Shu, she's your wife. Don't you feel bad for her? Suyu yelled at Qin Shu. Qin Shu looked at Suyu with a complicated expression. Then he squatted down, picked up a small rock, and threw it in the direction of Hua Xiqian and Huamin. The moment the rock hit the ground, there was a loud explosion. He planted a landmine? After Gao Ran said this, everyone's expression changed drastically. If Qin Shu hadn't stopped him, Suyu would have been smashed into pieces. Yes, Hua Xiqian used a landmine to trap himself and Huamin at the edge of the cliff. No one could get close, otherwise they would be blown into pieces. This is big trouble. Wei Liao, who was always smart and quick-witted, frowned slightly. Chapter 2952. Chu, what do we do now? Gao Ran looked at Qin Shu and asked in a low voice. Find a chance to save her, Qin Shu said calmly.
How?
We can't get close. Gao Ran frowned slightly. How about we throw rocks at them and detonate the bombs? There must be a limit to the number of bombs. Tang Chuan suggested cleverly. We can't do that. If the explosion is too loud, Huamin is pregnant. Su Yu immediately rejected. Oh, right. I forgot that my sister-in-law is pregnant. Tang Chuan stuck out his tongue. The men, including the police officers behind them, couldn't get close to Hua Xiqian and Huamin. Hua Xiqian faced everyone alone. He had even sent away all of his subordinates. If he wasn't confident, why would he do that? Just then, Hua Xiqian pulled Huamin and turned around. Thank you all for coming to my wedding with Huamin today,
he said.
Fuck. Su Yu was so angry that his face turned green. Seeing Huamin being wronged and unable to get close to him, that feeling was worse than death. Hua Xiqian, what do you have to do to let me on go? Qin Chu looked at him calmly. I think I should ask you what you have to do to let me on go, right? Qin Chu, you've had her for too long. You can't even protect your own wife. What right do you have to have her? Qin Chu didn't say anything. Hua Xiqian continued. Ian is running out of patience. He'll soon find out about Mion's background. If he finds out, you know the consequences. He's a demon that even Lu Yen can't deal with. Hua Xiqian wasn't being an alarmist. Everyone knew what kind of person Ian was. At least, Gao Ran had seen it before. Wherever that pervert went, rivers of blood would flow. She's my wife. I will protect her, Qin Chu said. Hua Xiqian seemed to have made up his mind. Save your sweet words, you're a big liar. You know better than I do how much Huamian has suffered in your hands. Anyways, I won't trust you this time. After the wedding, I'll take her away. Don't even think about it. There's so many of us here. Where can you go? Don't even think about taking Huamin away. Su Yu refuted Hua Xiqian, but he just smiled and didn't say anything. Mion, don't you want to say something to everyone at this beautiful moment? Hua Xiqian lowered his head and looked at Huamin. When he smiled, even his eyes were gentle. You won't succeed. My husband will save me. After Huamin finished speaking, she looked at Qin Chu with determination. Yes, she believed. She believed that no matter what, Qin Chu was the one who could save her. Just like before, Qin Chu would clean up all the messes she made. Qin Chu was the one who cleaned up all the mess she made. She just needed to continue being the willful Dr. Hua. Hearing Huamin's words, Qin Chu felt even worse. In the face of his wife's unconditional trust, he felt guilty. Mion, Qin Chu looked at Huamin as if he had 1,000 things to say. But as soon as he opened his mouth, tears welled up in his eyes. Huamin's eyes were also red. She never thought that she could be so far away from Qin Chu. They were only a dozen meters apart, but it felt like the end of the world. Chapter 2953. Hua Xiqian, we agree to let you go and not pursue this matter, as long as you let Huamin go. Gao Ran tried to negotiate with him. Hua Xiqian didn't even look at Gao Ran. You don't have the right to negotiate with me. Chu, you do it. Gao Ran glanced at Qin Chu. He doesn't have the right either because I have the upper hand. I told you, don't negotiate with me. I only want Huamin. That's impossible, Su Yu refuted. He could give Hua Xiqian anything but Huamin. Although Huamin wasn't his wife, he loved Huamin as much as Qin Chu did. Let's not waste time. Everyone think of something. It's too cold here and my sister-in-law is pregnant. We can't let that psycho hold her hostage. Tang Chuan was also very anxious. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran, lowered his voice, and said something. Gao Ran nodded and quietly retreated behind Qin Chu. They were not in Hua Xiqian's line of sight. Hua Xiqian, let Huamin go. After all, she's your family and you both have the same surname. Wei Liao tried to persuade him. We don't need outsiders to interfere with our family matters. Qin Chu, I didn't expect you to be such a coward. You even brought so many people to save your wife. If I knew you were such a coward, I wouldn't have married you. I shouldn't have. Hua Xiqian mocked. Suddenly, Huamin slapped Hua Xiqian's face. To be more precise, she threw both of her hands at him because Hua Xiqian had handcuffed her hands. She couldn't take them out, so she raised both of her hands and slapped him. She used a lot of strength. Hua Xiqian didn't expect Huamin to do this, but he was hit pretty hard. His cheeks turned red. He didn't know if it was because of the handcuffs or because of Huomin's fist. Don't bully Qin. No one has the right to say no to him. He's the best person in the world to me. Huomin angrily warned Huasiqian. Little sister Mian, you're being naughty again. Don't provoke me. Huasiqian smiled as he wiped the corner of his mouth. Mian, don't be impulsive. Qin was worried that something would happen to Huomin. Are you two putting on a show of loving husband and wife? Very well. Since you're acting, let's go all out. After speaking, Huasiqian turned around and picked up a glass of red wine. Come, let's drink cross-cupped wine. Get out of my way. Huomin struggled with all his might. You don't want to drink? Very well. I'll help you. After speaking, Huasiqian pinched Huomin's chin with one hand. With the other hand, he poured the wine into his mouth. Huomin, Suyu looked heartbroken. Qin, on the other hand, didn't make a sound, but the corners of his eyes were already glistening with tears. Huasiqian, fuck your ancestors. You son of a bitch. Tang Chuan jumped up and cursed. What a pervert. Wei Liao had never seen such a crazy man in his life. Cough, cough, cough. After being forced to drink the red wine, Huomin choked and coughed violently. He felt like he couldn't breathe and was about to suffocate. Huasiqian, don't touch her. Qin clenched his fists tightly.
What?
Do you feel bad for her? Then beg me. If you kneel down and beg me, I might be merciful. Huasiqian then threw the empty wine glass on the ground. His attitude was arrogant. Qin, don't listen to him. Huomin's breathing was weak, and even his voice was weak. Chapter 2954. Huasiqian, you're a piece of trash, scum son of a bitch. When Tang Chuan was angry, he wasn't as gentle as Suyu. If it weren't for the landmines, he would have rushed over. He was sure that he would have at least beaten Huasiqian into a pig's head. Huomin was forced to vomit after being forced to drink the red wine. She collapsed on the ground and kept retching. Although she knew that the red wine didn't have much effect on the fetus, she still didn't want to drink the red liquid. Especially when Huasiqian forced the wine down her throat in such a perverted way. Huomin didn't have any defensive weapons on her. Even the tracker had been found by Huasiqian, not to mention the silver needles on her body. At this moment, she was very envious of Yan. If she had Yan's skills, she wouldn't be afraid even if there were two Huasiqian. Qin, what are you waiting for? Aren't you going to kneel? Why don't I give little sister Mian some more? Huasiqian said as he reached out and pulled Huomin up from the ground. Qin's eyes darkened. No one knew what he was thinking. If this was an 8 p.m. drama, the male lead would definitely kneel down to save the woman he loved. It would show his love for the female lead. Then, the audience burst into tears, however. Life was never a drama, and it wouldn't develop in that direction. Huasiqian really wanted to humiliate Qin. He really wanted Qin to kneel down to him. All these years, he had always hated Qin. He always acted high and mighty, like an emperor. Qin was born with dignity and never bowed down to anyone. She carried her innate pride. Huasiqian, on the other hand, seemed to have lived in the shadow of abuse during his childhood. His life was even worse than that of a dog. Therefore, it caused his mentality to be distorted. Therefore, he wanted to see Qin kneel before him and crush all of Qin's pride. However, Huomin propped himself up and looked at Qin. In a low voice, he said, "Don't do that, please." Qin understood the look in Huomin's eyes. Qin knew that if he really knelt down to Huasiqian because of this, Huomin would feel worse than death. So he just stood there, not moving for a long time. Mian, look. I told you, he doesn't love you at all. He loves himself. He thinks it's embarrassing, so he won't even do something like this for you. Why would he give up his life for you? So don't be silly. This kind of man is really not suitable for you. Stop trying to drive a wedge between us. We've been together for years, and our love has long surpassed that of a man and a woman. We're already family. You can't drive a wedge between us with just a few words. Qin understands me. He's the person who understands me the most in this world. Huomin was glad that Qin understood what he meant. She felt gratified. If that's the case, let's drink some more, baby. After speaking, Horsechian grabbed Humin's chin again, raised the other glass of red wine, and poured it into her mouth. Don't, Horsechian, please don't do this. Don't you want me to kneel to you? Let me. I'll kneel to you. These words came out of Suyu's mouth, yes, when he saw Humin, who was pregnant with his second child, being forced to drink by Horsechian again. He almost broke down. That feeling was worse than being cut into pieces. To this day, he still couldn't bear to see Humin being tortured in front of his own eyes. Therefore, Suyu, who had always been arrogant, fell to his knees like a coward at this moment. He knelt down heavily in front of Horsechian. Then everyone was shocked. Chapter 2955. Lord Su. Wei Liao was dumbfounded. Lord Su, what the fuck are you doing? Get up. Tang Chuan had never seen Suyu like this before. He was like a coward, but he knew that he was doing this for Humin. Qin Chu's eyes dimmed. He looked at Suyu in silence and didn't say a word. In his eyes, Suyu had always been his greatest rival in love, his strongest competitor, and the most honorable gentleman. Humin's tears fell like pearls from a broken necklace. Suyu, get up. I won't allow you to do this, she said in a sobbing tone. Yes, she wouldn't allow any man to kneel down in front of Horsechian for her. Look, Qin Chu, you should learn from Suyu. Your love for Sister Mian is less than Suyu's. Horsechian said sarcastically. So, can you stop torturing Humin? Suyu raised his head and looked at Horsechian with bloodshot eyes. But it's useless for you to kneel down. I don't want you to kneel down. Horsechian changed his words. Horsechian, are you a fucking man? Tang Chuan was furious. He cursed as he pulled Suyu up. It's useless for you to curse me. Why don't you go and convince Qin Chu to kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times? Horsechian smiled smugly. Don't even think about it. Horsechian, you lived a lowly life when you were young and were treated like a dog. That's why you still feel inferior when you grow up. That's why you want someone as proud as Qin Chu to kneel down in front of you. That's why you feel satisfied, right? Yes, Sister Mian, you're absolutely right. Horsechian smiled. You won't make it happen. Qin Chu will never do that. He loves me, and kneeling down in front of you are 2 different things. We won't fall for your trick. Humin gritted his teeth and said word by word. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in the Middle East, Lu Yan slapped the face of a 2-meter-tall bald man. Boss.
I'm sorry. Fuck.
I'll chop your head off first, and then apologize to your head. What's the use of that? Lu Yan was furious. The man lowered his head and didn't dare to retort or even fart. Xiao Fei just watched on the side and didn't interfere. It was Lu Yan's rule to discipline her subordinates. No one was allowed to interfere. What's the situation over there? We only know that the young miss was taken away. Her husband went to rescue her. We don't know the details yet. What do I need you for? My sister was taken away. Why the fuck are you only telling me this now? Lu Yan rested her hands on her hips, fuming with anger. Boss, you are still in the middle of a war. It's such a critical battle. We were afraid that you would be distracted and in danger. Don't fucking mention danger to me. If I were afraid of death, would I be a mercenary? Xiao Fei looked at Lu Yan quietly. She scolded her subordinates in fluent American English. He thought she was very charming. Lu Yan, this fearless little girl, could make him fall head over heels in love with her. Prepare a plane for me, Psycho Xiao, and I will go back immediately. After Lu Yan finished scolding, she pointed at her assistant beside her. Yan, we can't go. Xiao Fei finally stood up slowly.
Why?
Even you think I can't save my sister? Lu Yan glared at Xiao Fei angrily. Chapter 2956. No, I just think Ian has been following us. If we go back to China, not only will we not be able to save Mian in time, but we might also bring trouble to her. Then what should we do? I can't just leave her in the lurch. No, I just think, first of all, Mian's husband isn't that strong, so maybe we don't have to do anything. Second of all, We have a long way to go. Even if we take the fastest flight back, it'll take at least 7 or 8 hours. Maybe after 7 or 8 hours, the situation will already be like this, Xiao Fei analyzed rationally. Lu Yan was silent. In fact, Lu Yan wasn't a reckless person. She was just anxious when it came to her sister's situation. If you think I'm wrong, I'll go back with you. Seeing Lu Yan remain silent, Xiao Fei added, Boss, there's a battle situation. Just then, one of her mercenaries rushed in and said in a hurry,
Speak.
Lu Yan glared at the man. We've just detected a dozen more armored vehicles heading our way. There are also 3 unmanned bombers. We have to leave this place. Damn it. They're everywhere. Lu Yan gritted her teeth. Let's retreat. Everyone, retreat to the dugout. Taking advantage of the war abroad, Ian's terrorist organization colluded with the local anti-government militants. Then, they used some large-scale war weapons to force Lu Yan to submit. This time, Lu Yan and Xiao Fei had been fighting for half a month. I'm practically exhausted, but the good thing was that the Qiao family couldn't interfere. Neither Qiao Nan nor his father, who wanted to bring Xiao Fei back, could contact him. War wasn't as simple as killing. A bomb could kill a lot of people. In the face of death, Lu Yan seemed to grow braver and even a little excited. Xiao Fei remembered a conversation between his father and Professor Lu, who was Lu Yan's father, a long time ago. At that time, Xiao Fei's father had said, After all, Lu Yan is a girl. It's not good for her to live like this. Why don't you give her a new identity and let her start over? At that time, Professor Lu's answer was, Everyone is born with a mission. Lu Yan is used to this kind of life. However, the dull and boring life will wear away her iron will. Although she's only in her early 20s, she's already experienced hundreds of battles. She's a real warrior who climbed out of piles of corpses. So, Lu Yan is destined to spend her life in battle. That was why Xiao Fei's father didn't want Xiao Fei to marry Lu Yan. On one hand, they were worried that Ian would cause trouble for them. On the other hand, no one wanted a warrior as their daughter-in-law. Even the underworld families were only involved in the arms trade for money. Lu Yan, on the other hand, was a real killing machine. When Xiao Fei was young, he saw Lu Yan and asked her, Aren't you afraid of going to hell after killing so many people? He remembered Lu Yan's answer clearly. She laughed disdainfully. Aren't I in hell right now? Those were the words of a teenager. At that time, Xiao Fei was extremely shocked and deeply touched. At the same time, he thought that he really wanted to use his life to protect Lu Yan and not let her get hurt, because this was no longer something that could be measured by the word heartache. Be careful. Coming back to his senses, Xiao Fei pressed Lu Yan's head down. The two of them hugged each other tightly and rolled into a crack on the other side. Then, the place where they were lying was hit by a bomb and engulfed by fire. You were distracted just now. This isn't like you. Xiao Fei looked at Lu Yan gently and asked. Chapter 2957. Xiao Fei. Lu Yan's expression was strange. What's wrong? I just had a very, very bad feeling. What feeling? I just felt something, stabbing pain in my heart. It's okay. Don't think too much. Xiao Fei, will my sister be okay? When Lu Yan said this, her hand subconsciously grabbed Xiao Fei's wrist tightly. There was also panic in her eyes. This was the first time Xiao Fei had seen it. It was an expression that Lu Yan rarely had. Even when she was facing death, she didn't have it. No, don't think too much. Sister Mian will be fine. If it's really because I didn't go back and couldn't help my sister, I'll hate myself to death. She's my biological sister. She and Dad are my last family in this world. Lu Yan was very scared. Ever since her mother Linya's accident many years ago, she had become more and more scared. Later, she and her father lived separately and didn't see each other for many years. Instead, she became much quieter. If her father was by her side, she would be distracted when she fought and would think about taking care of him. Therefore, she didn't want to be a burden to her father, and her father didn't want to be her worry. All these years, They lived in peace until she found her sister. Then, everything changed. Looking at her sister and the twins, Lu Yan felt a sense of happiness from the bottom of her heart. She couldn't suppress it. It was a magical feeling. It was a unique kinship, a kinship where blood was thicker than water. Trust me, she'll be fine. Sister Mian is a genius. Xiao Fei reached out and hugged Lu Yan's shoulder tightly. The two of them thought about how to save their lives in the rain of bullets. Xiao Fei had to comfort the panicked Lu Yan at the headquarters of the Turkish reactionary government. After meeting with the commander of the reactionary government, Ian walked out. He was wearing a dark green military coat. He was the leader of a terrorist organization, but he dressed up like a hero. That's right, he was just that unpredictable. Is the time limit for her up? Has he handed over the person I want? Ian asked. Sir, something seems to have happened over there? The person beside him reported carefully. Seems? Oh, no, I don't like you talking to me like that. Ian's face darkened. Sir, the situation isn't looking good. Tell me what's wrong. Ian got into the bulletproof SUV under the protection of his subordinates. My lord, have a cigar first. His men carefully held up the high-quality Cuban cigars and tried to please Ian.
Call Hua.
I want to talk to him now, Ian ordered after taking a puff of his cigar. Sir, we can't contact Mr. Hua anymore. Can't contact him?
What kind of concept is that?
Ian's eyes were cold. Something seems to have happened in China. We can't get through to Mr. Hua's phone, and the people in charge of contacting us can't be found either. So, did this kid betray me? Ian's eyes seemed to be smiling, and there was a strange look in them. I don't know the details yet, but I can't contact him right now, so I don't know what happened. Very good. This is really beyond my expectations. Ian narrowed his eyes and looked at the smoke outside the window. Then he laughed out loud. But this voice made one's hair stand on end at the top of Yoang Mountain. Gao Ran took out a thin rope and quietly put it in Qin Chu's hand. Chu, is this really okay? Gao Ran asked worriedly. Qin Chu didn't say anything and quietly took the rope from behind. There seemed to be no other way to save Huamian. Chapter 2958. Qin Chu raised his head and looked at Gao Ran. He slowly said, I have no other choice. I can't let Huasiqian lead me by the nose and let him bully me on. Yes, when Huamin was abused, Qin Chu was the one who felt the most pressure. Although his expression never changed, and he didn't speak, he wasn't as irritable as Su Yu or Tang Chuan, who showed it on his face. However, his heart was more tormented than anyone else's. There were such people in this world. They had a cold and steady personality. However, they were still humans, not gods. They couldn't live a life that was like a cheat. They couldn't solve everything. Therefore, when Qin Chu encountered a setback, he looked calm on the surface, but his heart was in turmoil. Are you confident? Gao Ran asked him. 50-50. There was no need to lie to Gao Ran, so Qin Chu could only say that the chances were 50-50ths. In this situation, it was hard to say if he could save Huamin, but Qin Chu would definitely do his best. After all, Huamian was more important to him than he was. Not long ago, when they attended an advanced CEO seminar, the spiritual mentor, Enya, gave them a question. Everyone was given a small blackboard and wrote the names of the people they thought were important. They had to write about 5 or 6 names. On Qin Chu's blackboard, they wrote Huamin, Pudding Little Bean, his parents, second uncle, and Qin Ning. Then, Gao Ran and Rick. Among these people, family, lovers, friends, they all included. After writing, the mentor said, Now think about it. You are on a hot air balloon and traveling. But suddenly, the hot air balloon breaks down and needs to be lightened to ensure the safety of others. At this time, one person has to be crossed out. In other words, you have to give up on him in exchange for the safety of others. Everyone fell silent after hearing this. This was a cruel question. However, it was also a compulsory question. Many people silently picked up the chalk and began to cross out their names. That's right. Most people would cross out a friend in their circle of friends because friends seem to be a little lighter than family members and lovers. Qin Shu picked up the chalk and paced back and forth between Gao Ran and the horse. Then he crossed out one. Then the tutor said, "Continue," and crossed out two more words. Just like that, after a few times, there were only two names left on most of the blackboards. One was the child and the parents. One was his children and his wife. On Qin Shu's blackboard were Huamin, Pudding, and Little Bean. These were all things that he could imagine. In his eyes, his children and his wife had indeed surpassed his parents. This did not mean that he was not filial, nor did it mean that his parents were not important. It was just that he loved his wife and daughter more. At this moment, the cruelest question came. The instructor said, "For the last time, the bosses will abandon one of the two remaining candidates." Everyone was in an uproar. Some people even threw away the chalk and yelled, "What kind of stupid game is this? I'm not playing anymore. My heart is so heavy." Yes, Qin Shu's heart was also extremely heavy. Although it was just a word game, when he crossed out his friends, parents, second uncle, and Qin Ning's names again and again, it was as if he had really abandoned them. Therefore, when the tutor asked them to choose again, many people broke down. Only Qin Shu thought for 5 seconds and then slowly picked up the chalk. He slowly crossed out Pudding and Little Bean's names. Only Huamin was left. At this moment, his face was already covered in tears. However, he also knew that in this world, no matter what, the person he loved the most was Huamin. "Chu, when do you plan to do it?" Gao Ran's words pulled Qin Shu back from his thoughts. Chapter 2959. Anytime. After Qin Shu said these two words, he took 2 more steps forward. Gao Ran didn't dare to ask too much, because Qin Shu's thoughts were just like Huamin's. They were always strange. Huamin was wearing a wedding gown as she stood at the edge of the cliff, where the cool breeze blew, standing in front of the glaring arch. She was forced by Huasiqian to hold a cliff wedding. Although these people were furious, there was nothing they could do. First, it was because of the time bomb on Huamin's body. Second, it was because the two of them seemed to be surrounded by something that resembled Sun Wukong's circle. There were landmines all around them. No one could get close to them. Huasiqian was far stronger than they had imagined. He was much more insane. "Huasiqian, if you're a man, come out and fight me one-on-one. Why do you have to make things difficult for a woman?" Su Yu taunted as he tried to goad Huasiqian. However, Huasiqian was so smart. How could he fall for it so easily? "Su Yu, don't try to provoke me. I won't fall for your trick. Whether I'm a man or not, it's not up to you to decide. Fight you one-on-one. No, I have the initiative. I have everything. Why would I fight you one-on-one? How stupid would I be?" Huasiqian laughed. "Huasiqian, didn't you say that you loved Huamin? How could you have the heart to treat her like this?" "What you did wasn't love," Su Yu scolded. At this moment, Huamin was in a sorry state. Red wine was spilled all over her dress, and there were red wine stains all over her wedding gown. Her hair was also a little messy. Perhaps it was because Huasiqian had hurt her when he pinched her chin, but Huamin's complexion was a little pale, and she looked a little weak. Su Yu was really distressed. He was so anxious that he wished he could replace her as a hostage. "Yeah, I love Mion, but my way is different from yours." "Bullshit, you're just selfish, possessive, and unwilling. That's not love at all. Loving someone means that even if you can't get them, you still want to see them live happily," Su Yu said. I'm sorry, I'm not as great as you. I just want to get it." "That's why I said you're a hypocrite. Huasiqian, let go of Huamin. I'll be her hostage." "Are you kidding me, Lord Su? You should stop. I can't bear to look at your IQ anymore." Huasiqian actually looked down on Su Yu. This was because he had always felt that Su Yu was stupid and impulsive. Therefore, he never took him seriously. Qin Shu, on the other hand, had always been the one he worried about. But now, without Huamin, Qin Shu was just a stray dog. Huamin was Su Yu's weakness. She was his weakness and Qin Shu's Achilles heel. It was because of this that Huasiqian was even more unscrupulous in torturing Huamin. He knew that doing this in front of Qin Shu would be more painful. Unintentionally killing him was much worse than killing him, therefore it was very scary to meet an opponent like Huasiqian, who could read minds. He knew what to do. He could break through your psychological defenses and make you break down immediately. How dare you look down on Lord Su's IQ? Fuck. I'd still be 2 pounds more than this son of a bitch. Tang Chuan and Suyu were best buddies. Therefore, as soon as he heard Huasiqian insult Suyu, he couldn't take it anymore. Huasiqian ignored Tang Chuan because he didn't want to talk to people who didn't matter to him. Little sister Mian, are you tired? Huasiqian lowered his head and looked at Huamin gently. At this moment, Qin Shu quickly threw out the steel wire lock that Gao Ran gave him. It wrapped around Huamin's body. Then, Qin Shu pulled hard. Huamin's body flew towards Qin Shu. Huasiqian reacted quickly. He grabbed onto Huamin's leg and jumped. Huamian, everyone at the scene was shocked to the core. Chapter 2960. Although Qin Shu's method was risky, it was the only way. Because only by dragging Huamin out of the air, they wouldn't have to put too much pressure on the landmine line. However, they didn't expect Huasiqian to react so quickly and grab Huamin's leg. Seeing this, everyone rushed over to help. Suyu immediately went behind Qin Shu and pulled the rope. Then, Gao Ran, Wei Liao, and Tang Chuan all ran over. Everyone began to play a tug-of-war with Huasiqian. Everyone, be careful. Don't hurt Huamin. Gao Ran didn't forget to remind them. After all, Huamin was pregnant. Seeing that this group of people was about to take her away, Huasiqian wasn't in a hurry. Out of nowhere, a miniature remote control appeared in his hand. He pressed it lightly. The landmine circle immediately exploded. The rope was blown apart. Before Huamin landed, Huasiqian carried her back. Luckily, she didn't fall to the ground. Fuck. He actually took her back. Tang Chuan was about to go crazy from the torture. When he came out, he didn't forget to brag. He patted his chest and said to Qin Ning, "Don't worry, honey. I'll definitely save our sister-in-law. After all, we're family." Qin Ning cried and leaned into Tang Chuan's arms. "Tang Chuan, you have to help my brother save her. My brother can't lose my sister-in-law. You don't know how scary it'll be if he loses her," Qin Ning cried as she said those words. But just now, when he saw Huamin being taken back by Huasiqian, Tang Chuan was really in despair at that moment. That feeling was like playing a game and clearly winning, but suddenly the power went out. It was simply too uncomfortable. Seeing the rope break, Huamin was hugged by Huasiqian. Qin Shu's perennially cold face finally had a trace of expression. That was panic, a kind of panic that he rarely showed. Yes, he was afraid. He was too afraid that something would happen to Huamin. "Huasiqian, let go of me." Huamin was held in his arms. She wanted to struggle, but she didn't have any strength. The explosion just now was still deafening, as if it was still ringing in her ears. She still felt that her heart was beating very fast. She wondered if the child in her stomach would be frightened. Huamin was thinking about how to protect her baby. After all, it was her and Qin Shu's child. "Qin Shu, this time you've really pissed me off," Huasiqian said. "Huasiqian, if you don't want to die, let her go. Do you believe that I can call in an army to wipe you out in minutes?" Suyu was furious. I believe you. Why wouldn't I believe you? You're the only heir of the Su family. Calling in an army is a piece of cake for you, but do you think everything can be done in a hurry? Do you think I'll give you this chance? What do you mean? This is a dead end. Do you have wings to fly? Suyu questioned. Lord Su, did this bastard prepare a helicopter or something to escape? Tang Chuan asked carefully. Even if it's a helicopter, I'll shoot him down. Suyu was full of confidence. At this moment, Huasiqian glanced at Qin Shu. "Qin Shu, all these years, I've been imagining a scene like today, a scene where you lose to me. The winner hasn't been decided yet." "I haven't lost," Qin Shu said. "No, you've already lost because," at this point, Huasiqian hugged Huamin tightly and glanced at her. Then he continued, "Mian, from this moment on, you're mine forever." Then Huasiqian hugged Huamin, turned around, and jumped off the cliff. At that moment, everyone held their breaths. It was as if they could hear the sound of a needle falling to the ground. "No." Suyu screamed at the top of his lungs. However, at that moment, Qin Chu couldn't make a sound. He just watched as Hua Xiqian hugged Huamin and jumped off the cliff. There was no room for negotiation. In the next second, Qin Chu spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 2961. Chu. What's wrong? Gao Ran reacted quickly and helped Qin Chu up. Suyu couldn't care less about Qin Chu. He ran past him and chased after Huamian. However, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan held him down. Let go of me. I have to save Mian. Suyu cried and roared. Lord Su, don't go. There are landmines there. You'll be blown up. You have to find someone to clear the mines first. Let go of me, let go of me. Suyu couldn't care less about the landmines. He ran to the edge of the cliff with all his might. Fortunately, Tang Chuan and Wei Liao used all their strength to hold down the landmines. Behind them, the public security reinforcements arrived with a minesweeper. They quickly cleared all the landmines at the scene. Then, Suyu and the others rushed over. After glancing down, everyone fell silent, especially Suyu. His eyes were filled with sadness, despair, and pain. Below them was a bottomless abyss. It was a rolling black wave at night. The sea seemed to be like a beast, howling in the sea breeze. Not to mention a living person, even a plane would be swept dozens of meters away by the waves. A wave would hit them and they would disappear without a trace. Humans were always so small in front of nature. Hua Xiqian hugged Huamin. After all, they were made of flesh and blood. If the two of them continued like this, there was basically no chance of them surviving. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. In other words, even if they were lucky and found it, who knew how many days it would take? By then, the corpse would probably be moldy, and there wouldn't be any survivors. Is Huamin dead? Suyu knelt by the cliff and looked down at the sea breeze and asked dumbly. Lord Su, don't be like this. To be honest, Wei Liao's heart ached when he saw Suyu's dumbfounded look. Do you guys think she's dead? Suyu's voice was trembling. He was terrified. Lord Su, we are all grieving, Tang Chuan said with difficulty, trying not to cry. My condolences, my condolences. How could Huamin die? She's a genius. She's so awesome. How could she die? You lied to me. You all lied to me. Suyu seemed to have gone mad. It seemed like it was going to fall down any further. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan each grabbed one of his shoulders and dragged him back. At this moment, Tang Chuan suddenly thought of Qin Chu, so he turned around abruptly. Gao Ran, where's brother Qin Chu? He's unconscious. Gao Ran's heart was heavy. The moment Huamin was carried down by Hua Xiqian, Qin Chu's pupils dilated infinitely. This scene was a blow to him. It was simply killing him. Then, in less than 10 seconds, Qin Chu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground with a thud. Gao Ran was so scared that he hurriedly helped him up and then got into the ambulance behind them for emergency treatment. Fuck. What kind of moral integrity is this? What should we do? What should we do? Tang Chuan hugged his head with both hands and squatted on the ground. He didn't know what to do and started crying. Wei Liao hugged Suyu tightly, trying to calm him down. Gao Ran was panicking. His hands kept trembling. Holding his phone, he trembled as he typed a few words and sent it to Lingling. Huamin is dead. There were only 4 words. Zhu Lingling called back. As soon as Gao Ran picked up, she scolded him. Damn cop, don't curse my Mian. Do you want to die? Do you want to sleep on the floor tonight? Lingling, Huamin is dead, Gao Ran said solemnly. Fuck off, you're the one who's dead. Don't make such an unlucky joke. Tell me, did you lose a game and now you're trying to trick me? Zhu Lingling obviously didn't believe him. Lingling, I'm not lying to you, Gao Ran explained again. His eyes were blurred by tears, and his voice was sobbing. Chapter 2962. Gao Ran, this joke isn't funny. Stop messing around, okay? Zhu Lingling's voice was filled with fear. Gao Ran didn't say anything. He just remained silent. Then a low sob sounded. Honey, don't scare me. Huamin was taken away by Huasiqian. We chased him to the edge of a cliff, and then Huasiqian jumped down with Huamin in his arms. With a thud, Zhu Lingling's phone fell to the ground this time. She finally believed that her husband wasn't playing a prank. Something really happened. Gao Rand explained everything that happened in one sentence, but it was too sudden. Zhu Lingling really couldn't accept it right away. Everyone was sad that Huamin was in trouble, but the saddest were Qin Chu and Suyu.
Suyu was still fine.
He could still cry, shout, and curse. However, Qin Chu completely exploded at that moment. He vomited blood and fainted. They still didn't know what was going on. After everyone returned, Suyu immediately contacted the rescue team and went to the bottom of Yuewang Mountain to salvage. They began to search and rescue near that area of the sea, still holding on to a glimmer of hope. Lord Su, forgive me for being blunt, but it's useless to salvage at this time. The waves over there are very big, and even fishing boats won't get close. Huamin's thin and weak body can't withstand the roar of the sea. Looking for a person in the vast sea is undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. Not to mention the possibility of survival. Maybe we won't even be able to find his body. Wei Liao knew that saying this might make Suyu uncomfortable, but these were all facts. He had to analyze them and let Suyu understand the current situation. Shut up. Mian won't die. She won't. I will definitely find her. Suyu furrowed his brows and glared at Wei Liao angrily. He grabbed Wei Liao's collar tightly. Lord Su, let's accept the truth. Huamin, she is dead. Wei Liao was also very sad. He didn't dare to tell Jiang Xiaowei about it. She had known Huamin for a long time, but she had seen him being dragged off the cliff by Huasiqian. Those who had not seen it with their own eyes would not be able to understand. After Wei Liao said this, Suyu punched him in the face. Wei Liao staggered and almost fell to the ground. Tang Chuan was explaining the situation to the rescue team. Seeing that a fight had broken out, he immediately rushed over. What's wrong with you two? What time is it now? Why are you still fighting here? Tang Chuan cursed. Suyu was silent. He panted heavily. Wei Liao wiped the wound on the corner of his mouth.
He didn't blame Suyu.
He knew that Suyu needed an outlet to vent his emotions. Lord Su, we've done as you said. You said to search and rescue, so we did. You said to look for people, so we followed you. If we can't find them in a day, then we'll search for a month. If we can't find them in a month, then we'll search for a year. Even if we search for the rest of our lives, we'll search for them. What do you think? Tang Chuan asked Suyu. Suyu bit his lip and didn't say anything. However, his mood was terrible. Yes, he didn't even want to say anything. After a while, he finally asked, Where's Qin Chu? How is he? He's still unconscious and in the hospital. I think no one is sadder than him. Tang Chuan lowered his head, obviously lacking confidence. Let's go, Suyu said as he turned to leave. Tang Chuan grabbed him and said, Lord Su, leave the search and rescue to them. We have to go back first. The twins are still at your house. When he heard the twins, Suyu's expression became even sadder. Chapter 2963. I think Pudding and Lil Bean are so smart.
We have to tell them about this.
No, we can't tell them. What if we find Mian? Suyu immediately denied. Okay, but you should go back and comfort them first. Otherwise, I don't think Annie can keep an eye on them. Wouldn't it be more dangerous if they run around? Tang Chuan wanted to temporarily divert Suyu's attention so that he wouldn't think about going out to sea to find Huamin. With Suyu's temper, if they couldn't find him, he would be devastated. If they found him, if it was a corpse, the blow would be even greater. If they found him and he was still alive, the possibility of that was very slim. Everyone understood this, and Suyu probably knew it too. He was just lying to himself. Then about the search and rescue.
Suyu seemed worried.
Leave the search and rescue to them. I'm sure they'll do their best. I think my brother-in-law Qin Chu is more important right now. Okay. In the end, Tang Chuan convinced Suyu. The rescue team immediately went out to sea to search and rescue. They reported to them in real time. Old Wei, why don't you go back first? Tell sister-in-law Xiaowei about this. She has the right to know. Tang Chuan patted Wei Liao's shoulder. Okay, I'll meet you guys at the hospital when I go back, Wei Liao said. Tang Chuan nodded. Chuan, Lord Su. Wei Liao was a little worried and hesitated. After being buddies for so many years, they had a tacit understanding. Tang Chuan knew what Wei Liao wanted to say, so he nodded. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him. I won't let him do anything rash. Okay, that's good. Then, Wei Liao left them tiredly and went home. Military hospital, Su called his grandfather and specially allowed Qin Chu to go to the military hospital. Firstly, the medical equipment was more advanced, and secondly, the concealment was better. If GK's competitors found out about Qin Chu's illness, they would definitely hype it up and make an issue out of it. When Su Yu, Tang Chuan, and the others arrived, Qin Chu was already in the emergency room. Only Gao Ran sat alone on the bench, looking haggard. Lord Su, you're back? How is Qin Chu?
Su Yu asked.
I don't know yet. I'm also very worried. Gao Ran said. Don't worry, I believe he'll be fine. After that, Su Yu and Tang Chuan also sat beside Gao Ran and continued to wait. 10 minutes later, Zhu Lingling arrived, crying all the way. When he saw her, she asked, Honey, is what happened to Mian true? Why are you here? Didn't you say you wouldn't come out? Gao Ran's heart ached. How could I not come? Something so serious happened. My heart is breaking. Zhu Lingling's eyes were red and swollen from crying. Then, she took out her phone and dialed a number. I think Mian will be fine. I just called her, and her phone was still connected. She might be a survivor, Zhu Lingling said. Sister Lingling, Mian didn't bring her phone. When she was kidnapped by Huasiqian, she was wearing pajamas. Her phone should still be at South Hill Manor. We men saw what happened to her with our own eyes. We're very sad. We didn't think that psycho, Huasiqian, would do something so extreme. But this is the truth. My condolences. After Tang Chuan said this, Zhu Lingling hugged her head with both hands, squatted on the ground, and cried again. My Mian, how did this happen? Just then, Qin Ning ran all the way in, out of breath. When she saw Tang Chuan, she squeezed his arm tightly. Tang Chuan, where's my brother and sister-in-law? Chapter 2964. Ning Ning. Listen to me first. Tang Chuan stood up guiltily. He didn't know how to tell Qin Ning. At this moment, it seemed like he couldn't lie to her. He couldn't leave the Qin family in the dark. Tang Chuan, say something. What happened to my brother? Who's in the oar? Qin Ning's voice trembled, and she was about to cry when she received Tang Chuan's call. She felt that something was wrong. When she asked him, he said he couldn't tell her over the phone. When she asked where he was, he said he was in the military hospital. So, Qin Ning ran to the hospital like crazy. However, even someone as straightforward as Tang Chuan wouldn't tell her directly. Qin Ning already had a bad feeling in her heart. Ning Ning, I'll tell you, don't get too excited. Promise me that you'll be mentally prepared. Hurry up and tell me. I'm scared to death. Qin Ning felt her heart begin to race. Because she saw Su Yu, Tang Chuan, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling standing at the entrance of the ER. Their expressions were very heavy. This wasn't a good sign. Tang Chuan really didn't have the heart to tell the cruel truth because he knew how close Qin Ning was with her brother and sister-in-law. But at this moment, if he didn't say it, no one else could either. Everyone was devastated. Ning Ning, Mian's sister-in-law, was carried off the cliff by Huasiqian. Big brother Qin Chu couldn't take it and vomited blood and fainted. Tang Chuan gritted his teeth and finally explained the truth with difficulty. After hearing it, Qin Ning was completely dumbfounded. What did you say? She thought she might be hallucinating. Ning Ning, Mian's sister-in-law, is dead. Big brother Qin Chu suffered a great blow and fainted. He's still in the ER. Our hearts are heavy. Tang Chuan put his arm around Qin Ning's shoulder and said word by word. No, I don't believe it. It can't be like that. It can't be like that. Qin Ning was so scared that she took a few steps back and shook her head. Although she said that she didn't believe it, her tears were already falling. Tang Chuan, you lied to me. You love pranking. You must be trying to scare me, right? Where's my sister-in-law? Where did you guys hide it? Ning. Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning's tear-stained face with heartache. Tang Chuan, hurry up and hand over my sister-in-law. Pudding and Little Bean are still waiting for her to come home. They still need to look for their mother. After Qin Ning said this, everyone's mood worsened. Zhu Lingling's mood, which had just calmed down a little, collapsed again. She leaned on Gao Ran's shoulder and cried, "Honey, without me on, what are Pudding and Little Bean going to do? They're so pitiful. They're not even 4 years old, and they already lost their mother. What should we do in the future?" Gao Ran was a dignified man who rarely shed tears. Even he could not bear this scene. He didn't say anything. Instead, he hugged Zhu Lingling tightly. The couple's hearts were extremely heavy. Su Yu, on the other hand, was numb even now. He still couldn't believe what he saw, so he smoked one cigarette after another. There were already dozens of cigarette butts on the ground. It was as if he couldn't hear what Qin Ning and Tang Chuan were saying. Ning, you have to be strong. Take good care of Qin Chu. He has to be strong.
He still has 2 kids to take care of.
Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning. That's impossible. If my sister-in-law really dies, my brother is done for. Qin Ning's face was covered in tears. She shook her head at Tang Chuan. No, he will be strong for the kids. He's always been a great father, Tang Chuan said. You guys don't understand at all. My brother. Qin Ning paused. Chapter 2965. My brother can't live without my sister-in-law, Qin Ning said in tears. I know, Ning. I know that Qin Chu loves his sister-in-law very much. Tang Chuan seemed to be comforting her. No, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what my brother went through in the 4 years in the United States. Qin Ning roared out of control. What did he go through? Su Yu heard the key words and looked up at Qin Ning. Just then, the door of the emergency room opened. Young Master Su, the attending doctor, walked out and went directly to Su Yu. Everyone surrounded him and waited for the results. Dr. He, tell us. Su Yu is already famous in the military because he often visited the hospital with his grandfather when he was young. Therefore, the young and old people in the hospital were very familiar with him. Your friend's condition is very bad. How bad? Su Yu looked at the doctor quietly and asked. Everyone's hearts tightened when they heard this. We found that he was too sad and depressed. He must have suffered a huge blow, so he fainted and vomited blood. Yes, he just went through a catastrophe, Su Yu explained. That's not the most serious problem. The most serious problem is that we found an unknown drug in his body. This drug will corrode his internal organs, and it should have been for a long time. He should have been taking it for a long time, so part of his liver has been necrotic.
How can that be?
That's impossible. Gao Ran was completely dumbfounded. In his eyes, Qin Chu had always been healthy. That's impossible. Doctor, did you make a mistake? Tang Chuan also interrupted. No, we did a detailed blood analysis and found the unknown drug. As for the liver damage, we did a CT scan. You can look at the scans. Dr. He, what should we do now? Su Yu was also panicking. He thought that Qin Chu was in a coma because of Hua Min's accident. He would be fine after a short rest. They didn't expect it to turn out like this. This was something none of them had expected. Based on the current situation, his body's condition, and the stimulation this time, his brain is already in a deep coma. We may not be able to guarantee when he will wake up. The doctor looked at everyone guiltily. What do you mean? What do you mean you can't guarantee when he will wake up? Zhu Lingling was about to go crazy. I'm very sorry. We've really tried our best, but we really can't do anything about his situation. To put it simply, his current situation is he has to rely on himself. If he's fast, it'll take 3 to 5 days. If he's slow, it'll take 3 to 5 years. We can't guarantee anything. 3 to 5 years? Isn't that a vegetable? Tang Chuan was also dumbfounded. Hearing this, Qin Ning broke down again. She squatted on the ground and cried. Yes, it's also possible that he won't wake up for 3 to 5 years, or he might never wake up. It's really hard to say. Doctor, he said slowly. How could this be? Suyu was dumbfounded and fell onto the hospital bench. Everyone was silent. Only Zhu Lingling and Qi Ning's cries echoed in the corridor. Every cry was heart-wrenching. Ning, do you know what the unknown drug your brother took was? And what happened to your brother in the 4 years he was in the States? Suyu turned his head and asked Qi Ning in a low voice. Chapter 2966. After Suyu said this, everyone looked at Qi Ning. She turned her head and looked at everyone. She suddenly felt that it was time for the secret to be made public. Her brother had always said that he would keep it a secret and that he couldn't even tell his sister-in-law. However, in the current situation, her sister-in-law was dead and her brother's fate was unknown. There was no point in keeping it a secret. Ning, hurry up and tell us. We're worried sick. Only if you tell us can we get the doctor to treat the illness and save Qin Chu. Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning anxiously. My brother, during the 4 years he was in the States, he was very, very bad. He missed my sister-in-law so much that he got a disease, Qi Ning said slowly. What disease? Suyu stood up. He felt that this was a serious matter. This disease is very rare. I'm not a medical student, so I don't know much about it. I only know that it's called paranoia. The scientific name is paranoid personality disorder. Finally, Qi Ning revealed her brother's secret to the public. Paranoid personality disorder? What the hell is that? Tang Chuan didn't understand at all. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran were also confused. Suyu reacted quickly. He took out his phone, searched the database, and immediately found the description of this disease. Perhaps he wanted to help everyone, so he took out his phone and read in a low voice, Paranoid personality disorder is a type of personality disorder. The number of people with this type of disorder is unknown. People with this type of disorder rarely seek help from doctors. If their spouse or friends advise them to seek treatment, most of them will deny that they have this disease. This makes it difficult for the doctors who treat them to distinguish the truth. Their symptoms are usually caused by a sudden event or stimulation. Then, they often fall into an inextricable state of pain. According to the United Nations Medical Association, people with paranoid personality disorder account for 5.8% of the world's population. Because people with this type of disorder rarely have self-awareness and seriously deny their condition, the actual number may be even higher. Once they get this disease, it's very difficult to cure because when they realize that they have the disease, it's very difficult for them to control and change it. When they seek help from the outside world, it's difficult for others to guide them for too long. Then, they'll fall back into the previous pain and confusion. This is a painful cycle of death. Most of the patients are men, and there's no known cure yet. After Suyu finished speaking, everyone's hearts turned cold. Fuck. Does this mean that even Brother Qin Chu doesn't know that he has this disease? Because this kind of patient will deny that he is sick? Tang Chuan asked. Qin Ning immediately retorted. Of course not. My brother studied medicine and is one of the rare genius doctors with high IQ and EQ. My brother is also one of the rare few who knows about his condition and has been actively cooperating with the treatment. Later, when he saw that the treatment wasn't effective, he prescribed his own medicine. But I know that medicine is bad for his body, but if he doesn't take it, his mind and heart will be tortured. I don't know what to do. Does Huamian know about this disease? Suyu asked. Of course not. My brother forbade her from talking about it. My uncle and the others don't know. Only me and big brother Rick know. My brother always told me not to let Huamian know because she'd be so sad. After all, he got this disease because he missed her so much. Qin Ning lowered her head. In other words, when Qin Chu and Huamin were separated in the States for 4 years, he missed Huamin all the time and got this disease, right? Suyu asked again. Chapter 2967. Yeah, I remember back then. Qin Chu's leg was injured from the plane crash, so he wasn't in a good mood. When he was in the nursing home, he would only smile when he saw Mian's photo. Because he missed her so much, he suppressed himself and didn't dare to go back to see her. Back then, Qin Shu's leg was seriously injured, and he was afraid that he would drag Mian down with him. Plus, he did his own things in secret and got in touch with some mysterious people. I'm not sure about this, but I think Qin Shu had his reasons for doing things, so I didn't ask. Qin Ning carefully recalled the time when Qin Shu was in the States recovering from his injury. What are the symptoms of his illness? For example, does he have any abnormal behavior? Is it a mental illness? Zhu Lingling asked curiously. No, he's the same as before. The only serious symptom is insomnia. The most severe insomnia I remember was that he didn't sleep for 5 days and 5 nights. Oh my God, how is that possible? Zhu Lingling covered her mouth in shock. Gao Ren also widened his eyes in disbelief. Qin Shu had never told him about the things that happened in the States. 5 days and 5 nights? How did that feel? Oh my God, was he sleepy? Tang Chuan looked up at the sky and sighed, his face full of sadness and helplessness. Qin Ning recalled the pain that her brother had gone through and said with tears in her eyes, "Yes, it wasn't easy for my brother. Maybe it's because of his personality. He liked to shoulder everything by himself and would do anything for my sister-in-law. He didn't need to say much, he just needed to act. During that time, my brother was very serious. His eyes were often purple, and his pupils were red. He had to sleep. At that time, we contacted all the famous doctors in the United States, from psychiatrists, psychologists, and even stubborn sleep therapists. Unfortunately, it was to no avail. At that time, a doctor said that if my brother's condition continued, he would definitely die because his heart wouldn't be able to handle staying up all night. It was very likely that he would suffer from heart failure and myocardial infarction. My brother wanted to come back alive to see my sister-in-law, so he started making his own medicine. Making his own medicine? He's really good. Su, you only had respect for Qin Shu at that moment. This man, who didn't say much and had a proud look on his face, was a real man. He had never been like a woman, dawdling about the pain he had suffered in the past. After he came back, he gave Humin a warm hug and didn't mention anything about the past 4 years. He even talked about his most serious leg injury, which had undergone several surgeries, as if it was nothing. Suyu admired a man like him, unyielding and arrogant to the extreme. Making medicine isn't easy. In the beginning, my brother used common sense and tried his own medicine. He often got poisoned. Just now, the doctor said that his liver was damaged. I think that was the root of the disease. Later, he finally found a medicine that could cure his disease, but it couldn't cure it completely. He could only suppress it on the surface, saying that it suppressed the excitement in his cerebral cortex. Basically, it relieved sleep. Since then, my brother got better little by little. But this medicine hasn't stopped for the past few years, and he's still taking it. It's just that my sister-in-law doesn't know about it. But if he takes the medicine, will it affect Humin's baby? So you suddenly thought of a very serious problem. Chapter 2968. I don't think so. When my brother tested the medicine, he focused on our extensive knowledge of Chinese medicine. He was worried that it might affect our future pregnancy. Plus, after my sister-in-law got pregnant with her second child, my brother looked very happy, so there shouldn't be any problems. I thought that their family of 4 would be happy with the addition of another baby, but who knew? At this point, Qin Ning covered her mouth and began to cry again. To be honest, she couldn't accept the fact that Humin was dead. After hearing Qin Ning's words and learning about Qin Shu's secret, everyone's heart sank. The current situation was that Humin was dead and Qin Shu was still unconscious. A family that had been perfectly fine was torn apart just like that. The innocent elderly and children didn't know what happened, and they were still waiting for Qin Shu and Humin to return. Lord Su, what should we do now? Tang Chuan didn't know what to do and panicked. I'll think of a way. I'll contact the specialists in Jing City and see if there's any other way. We can't let Qin Shu stay unconscious like this. If he wakes up, he'll have a better chance of finding Mian, Su said. Tang Chuan nodded, walked over, and put his arm around Qin Ning's shoulder. Ning, don't worry. Lord Su has a lot of connections. He even managed to invite the special military doctor for the leaders of Jing City. Qin Chu will be fine. Qin Ning nodded with tears in her eyes and leaned on Tang Chuan's shoulder. Then you guys should go back first. There's no point in staying here. You guys should go home. There are people here 24/7, Su said as he looked at Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling. Okay. Let us know if you have any news. I'll go back and follow up on the search for Huimin, Gao Ran said. Okay. After they all left, Su was about to go in and check on Qin Chu when his phone suddenly rang. Hello, President Su. I'm President Qin's assistant, Xiao Yang. Oh, go ahead. It's like this. I can't contact our President Qin. Do you have any news about him? Is there something urgent at the company? If so, you can tell me and I'll help him deal with it. Su said bluntly. That's not it. It's just that President Qin told me to contact you if I can't find him. What else did he say? He also said that if he couldn't get in touch with you, he wanted me to pass a message to you. So, I want to confirm if something happened to President Qin. Yang wasn't stupid. When he heard President Qin's order, he knew that what he was going to do this time was very dangerous. Something did happen to Qin Chu. Su knew that Yang was a trustworthy person, so he didn't try to hide it. I knew it. Yang's heart sank. What message did he ask you to pass to me? Go ahead. Through the glass of the ICU, Su looked at the man wearing an oxygen mask. He was no longer as beautiful as he used to be, nor was he dazzling. It was just lying there quietly, falling into a deep sleep. They were rivals in love. After Qin Chu died, he should have had a better chance of getting Huimin, but now, seeing him like this, Su felt very sad. It was as if his best friend had encountered a life-or-death situation. President Qin told me that this time, he's going to do something dangerous. If he doesn't come back, then he asked me to find you immediately and tell you. When little Yang said this, he choked up and was about to cry. Su, you didn't interrupt and just listened quietly. It seemed to be Qin Chu's last words. Chapter 2969. Let me tell you, President Su, that President Hua, also known as Huimin, and their children are in your care. Assistant Yang struggled to say these words to Su over the phone. However, Su wasn't happy at all. Instead, he felt sad. Okay, I got it. After hanging up the phone, Su took a deep breath. This man was really meticulous. Before he left, he had already thought of the worst possible outcome. He must have thought that he would do everything he could to save Huimin. Even if it meant sacrificing his own life, he wouldn't hesitate. The worst possible outcome would be him dying and Huimin surviving. Then, he generously entrusted Huimin and the twins to Su. Su didn't know what Qin Chu was thinking. Was it because he was afraid that Huimin would be too tired to take care of the children, or that he would be too lonely for the rest of his life? Either way, this was a decision made by someone who loved Huimin deeply. Su felt terrible. He paced back and forth in the corridor of the hospital. He smoked more than 10 cigarettes. Finally, when he reached for the cigarettes, he realized that he had smoked all of them. He sighed slightly and gently pushed open the door to the intensive care unit. Qin Chu was lying there. The entire room was silent. The only sound that could be heard was the beeping of the monitors. Doctor, he was already an outstanding doctor in the local hospital. If he said that this was a difficult situation, then it was true. So, Qin Chu's condition should be very troublesome. He didn't really understand the paranoid personality disorder that Qin Ning mentioned, but after reading up on it, he knew that it was a very complicated condition. At this time, Huimin fell off a cliff and no one knew if he was dead or alive. Qin Chu was in a coma, and his life was hanging by a thread. Su, you had actually become the person in charge. Furthermore, it was Qin Chu who had personally instructed him to hand over the twins and Huimin to him. It had to be said that he had great trust in him. Two such powerful experts were now either dead or unconscious. Su Yu's heart was also on the verge of collapse. If it were not for Wei Liao and Tang Chuan holding him down at that time, he would probably be at the bottom of the sea now. He quietly looked at Qin Chu for a while. Su Yu said softly, I've received the message you asked your assistant to pass to me, but what I want to say is, I refuse your request. I just want to say that you should take care of your wife and child yourself. How can you leave them to someone else? I'm not the kind of person who's willing to find trouble for myself. I won't help you take care of your wife and child. So, you're such a cold and arrogant person. You better wake up early and do your own things, okay? Chin-Chu's eyes were still tightly shut. He did not have any consciousness at all. It's decided then. I won't help you. If you don't wake up, your wife and child will have to live on the streets begging for food. Suyu said this in a fit of pique to provoke Chin-Chu. Then, he carefully closed the door and quietly left. Suyu really wanted to find a small bar where no one knew him and drink until he got drunk. He wanted to forget everything and not think about it anymore. He really wanted to wake up tomorrow morning and say good morning to Huimin on WeChat, Dr. Hua. However, he knew that all of this was impossible, although he still had hope in his heart that Huimin was still alive. Everyone knew that Huimin was already dead. His beloved Dr. Hua was no longer in this world. Suyu drove all the way to the old mansion of the Su family in a daze. When the twins saw Suyu come in, they immediately rushed out. "Handsome Su, you're back. Where's Mommy?" they asked at the same time. Upon hearing this, Suyu's heart felt as if it had been stabbed. Chapter 2970. Pudding Little Bean, your mommy. Suyu stammered. "You haven't rescued her yet, have you?" Pudding's heart sank when she saw Suyu's expression. "Pudding, listen to me. It's a little complicated, but I believe your mommy will come back safe and sound." Come back? Was she taken away by the big bad guy? Pudding reacted quickly. Suyu really didn't know what to say, because if he said something wrong, the kids would definitely be suspicious. But he couldn't just say that their mommy was dead. That would be too cruel to the two kids. "Handsome Su, where's my daddy?" Little Bean tugged at Suyu's sleeve and asked with a confused look. Suyu's nose twitched, and he almost cried. He tried his best to control himself and replied, "Your daddy is very worried. He won't give up until he finds your mommy, so he's still busy outside." "Oh, I see." The two kids seemed disappointed. "Were you too good today?" Suyu patted their heads and asked dotingly. "Of course, we were very obedient to Grandma Su." Little Bean pouted and replied, You're back. Just in time. Come and eat." Lady Su walked out of the kitchen. "What did you make, Mom?" Suyu tried to appear happier, not wanting the kids to see through his thoughts. "I made your favorite food, steamed pork, lotus root slices, and sweet and sour fish. Oh, and your favorite tea-flavored lamb chops." Lady Su smiled gently. "Wow, that's great. Then I'll eat more today." Suyu forced himself to smile. Then he held the two kids' hands and walked to the dining table. At that time, he thought that if Huimin really died, Chin-Chu wouldn't wake up. Then, he was indeed the one who could take care of the twins and was the closest person to them. After Suyu walked the kids to the dining room, his phone rang. He looked at the number, lowered his voice, and said a few words. Then, he mysteriously walked to the balcony. Little Bean and Pudding sat on the chairs without saying a word. Little Bean looked at her sister and then looked at Suyu with a complicated expression. "Sis, what are you thinking about? Do you think we can trust Handsome Su's words?" Pudding asked. "Of course. What else could it be? Would he lie to us?" Little Bean didn't think too much about it. "I have a feeling that something big has happened. Handsome Su is acting weird today." Pudding murmured. "How can you tell?" "I think Handsome Su is the same as usual," Little Bean retorted. "Then you must not have noticed his smile. That kind of smile seemed to be forced out with great effort and not from the bottom of his heart," Pudding explained. "Oh, you're overthinking it. Mommy isn't back yet. Handsome Su likes Mommy so much, it's natural for him to be worried." "No, it's not that simple. I keep feeling that he's hiding something from us. Why don't we ask him later? There's no need to worry about guessing here and there." "Are you stupid? If he's hiding something from us, do you think he'll tell us?" "Then what should we do?" Little Bean looked innocent. "No, I have to go out and make a call." Then, Pudding slipped down from the chair and ran out with her phone. "Is my sister being too paranoid?" Little Bean murmured to herself. When Suyu came back from the phone call, he only saw Little Bean and was puzzled. Where's Pudding? She went to make a call.
Call?
Who did she call? Suyu was even more curious. I don't know. But by the way, handsome Sue, are you hiding something from us? Little Bean pouted and asked. Chapter 2971. Why do you ask? Suyu asked guiltily. Because my sister said you were acting weird today.
Did I?
Suyu felt even more guilty. Who knows? My reaction wasn't as fast as hers. My sister is sensitive and might be overthinking. But don't hide anything from us, or I won't forgive you. Suyu looked at Little Bean with a complicated expression and didn't answer. Instead, he picked up a glass of juice and handed it to Little Bean. Drink more juice to replenish your vitamin C. Then, the maids of the Sue family began to serve the dishes, but Pudding still hadn't returned. Why isn't the little girl back yet? I'll go find her. Suyu stood up and walked out of the dining room. He walked around and finally found Pudding on the balcony at the end of the corridor on the second floor. She stood there, her small figure for some reason. When he thought of Huimin's death and the child's loss of her mother, Suyu felt terrible. Pudding, it's time to eat. Handsome Sue, come here. I have something to ask you. Suyu glanced at her and slowly walked over. Handsome Sue, tell me what happened. Nothing happened. It's just a little difficult to rescue your mother, but it's all temporary. Suyu continued to make up white lies. You're still lying to me? Pudding was furious. Pudding, I've already called Uncle Gao Ran Lingling my aunt and Uncle Tang Chuan. Suyu's heart chilled. Pudding, the truth is, you've never lied to me. Mommy said that people can't lie. If you tell one lie, you have to use 100 other lies to cover it up. Over time, you'll become a liar and lose your reputation. So, handsome Sue, don't lie to me. Even the cruelest truth is easier to accept than a white lie. Sue, you didn't say anything. Something happened to her, right?
Pudding asked.
Pudding, I'm sorry. We tried our best, but we couldn't save her. Tell me what happened. I want to hear the whole story. Pudding looked at Suyu seriously. This gave Suyu a lot of mental pressure. He didn't look like a 3-year-old child at all. His mature appearance made Suyu not dare to underestimate him. In the end, Suyu sighed slightly, walked over, and stood beside Pudding. He told her about how Huimin had fallen into the sea. After hearing this, she was silent. After a while, she asked again, What about Daddy? Your daddy is in the hospital right now. He might have suffered too much shock and is still unconscious, Suyu said slowly. Pudding's eyes dimmed bit by bit. She didn't cry like the other kids and didn't make a fuss. She quietly turned around and looked into the distance from the balcony. Pudding. Suyu reached out and patted her on the shoulder. Handsome Sue, are we going to lose Little Bean and me this time? Daddy loves Mommy so much. He wouldn't live alone in this world. Did they abandon me and Little Bean?
Pudding asked sadly. No.
Your Mommy loves you very much. She doesn't want to. Listen, Pudding, we can't confirm that your Mommy is dead yet. Maybe she's still alive. I've already sent a rescue team to search for her. Your daddy is only unconscious for a while. He'll wake up, right? Something seemed to flash in Pudding's eyes, but it didn't fall. After pausing for a while, she suddenly turned her head and said to Suyu, Okay. Chapter 2972.
Don't tell Little Bean, she said.
Suyu didn't speak, but his heart ached even more as if it was being torn apart. Handsome Sue, don't tell my sister.
She'll be so sad.
I know. Okay, I'm going to eat. Then, before Suyu could say anything, Pudding's little figure had already walked downstairs. At this moment, Suyu's cell phone rang. Lord Sue. It was Tang Chuan's voice. What's up? I want to tell you something. Don't get too excited. Can you promise me that you'll be able to hold on? Tang Chuan said mysteriously.
Cut the crap. Tell me.
Suyu had lost his patience. I just got the news that the rescue team found a female corpse in that area of the sea. But what? Suyu felt like he was about to suffocate and stop breathing. Female corpse. The word female corpse was the cruelest torture for Suyu. He had never imagined that one day, such a horrible word would be used to describe Humin. However, Tang Chuan liked to say things halfway, which almost drove Suyu crazy. But the corpse was scratched by the rocks and corals at the bottom of the sea, so we can't see what it looks like. So, they asked me to tell you to identify it and see if it's Humin's corpse. The more Tang Chuan spoke, the less confident he became. He was afraid that Suyu would go crazy.
Okay.
After a long while, Suyu finally squeezed out a word. Then I'll wait for you over there. See you in a bit. Then, Tang Chuan was about to hang up. However, Suyu said, Wait, I have something to ask you. Young Master Tang, you can't keep your mouth shut. I just told you one sentence and you screwed up. What do you mean? Tang Chuan looked confused. Why did you tell Pudding about this? She's just a kid. How can she take such a blow? Suyu was furious. Fuck. Who told Pudding? You're slandering me again. Tang Chuan wasn't happy. Didn't you say it? I didn't say that. What about Qi Ning? Ning Ning has always been with me.
She didn't say anything.
Tang Chuan was confused. You didn't say anything.
What?
Does Pudding know? Tang Chuan asked again. I'll tell you later. After hanging up the phone, Suyu finally understood. Maybe Pudding didn't call Gao Rand or Qi Ning at all. She just saw that Suyu was in a bad mood. Pudding TSS was pretended to call Prince Humian T. Suyu foolishly told her everything to confirm his thoughts. Suyu called Gao Rand's cell phone. The result was the same. Gao Rand said that he didn't receive Pudding's call. Pudding is really smart. Suyu sighed slightly. However, she didn't have much of a reaction and was still in the mood to eat downstairs. She probably didn't believe that Humian was dead, just like him. That was why she didn't break down and cry. When Suyu came downstairs, the twins were sitting there quietly, eating. Pudding even took the initiative to put food in her sister's bowl. It was as if she had grown up overnight. She was more sensible and well-behaved. Mom, I'm going out. Going out again? You haven't eaten yet? Lady Sue was reluctant to leave her son. I'm not eating. There's something urgent at the company. I have to deal with it. You eat with the kids, and let them go to bed early. Handsome Sue. Pudding turned to look at Suyu.
Yeah.
Will you stay here tonight? Pudding looked at Suyu longingly. Chapter 2973. Yes, I will. Suyu knew that the child was insecure at this moment. Her parents were in trouble one after another, and she was afraid that Suyu would never come back. Therefore, she asked Suyu if he would come back. Suyu rarely stayed at home. However, he still agreed, without thinking. Okay, we'll wait for you. Pudding looked at Suyu with relief. You're the best. He wouldn't even let me, his mother, ask him to stay. Lady Sue looked at Pudding with a smile. Of course. My sister is with handsome Sue. She can easily show off her face, Pudding bragged. Don't be naughty. Don't run around. After dinner, watch TV and go to bed. Do you hear me? Suyu instructed. I hear you. Come back early. If I'm not asleep by then, remember to bring me pineapple buns for supper. Pudding said with a smile. Okay, little foodie. It seemed that Pudding's decision was right. He really couldn't let Pudding know about this. The two children had completely different personalities. If Pudding knew, she probably wouldn't be able to take it. She wouldn't be as calm as Pudding. After Suyu left, Pudding ate a little and left the table. Pudding, you didn't eat much. What's wrong? You don't have an appetite? Lady Sue asked. Yeah, I don't feel like eating. Is the food not to your liking? No, it's my own fault. Maybe I'm not hungry recently. Grandma Sue, take your time. I'm going upstairs to rest. Sis, your favorite financial show is coming up soon. Pudding looked at her watch and reminded her sister. No, I'm a little sleepy. I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
Pudding didn't know what was wrong with her sister, so she didn't dare to ask. After Pudding went upstairs, Lady Sue asked Pudding worriedly. What's wrong with Pudding? Did you two fight? No, I haven't provoked her for 2 days. Pudding looked wronged. Then why do I feel like Pudding is in low spirits? Don't worry about her. My sister is just like that. Huh. Sentimental. She's like my dad. She likes to keep everything to herself. Maybe she's in a cold war with Wei Yunqiu. Who knows? Little Bean was a completely ignorant person, so she always thought that her parents were fine and that she was still living in a happy childhood. A bedroom on the second floor because the twins were staying over. Lady Sue specially ordered a new 4-piece bedsheet set from Luxurious Home Textiles. They were all pink in color, and there were many dolls and candies in the room. It was very beautiful, just like a princess room. It was fate that brought them together. Huamian had lived in this house when she was nurturing her baby. The Su family had always kept the room and never let anyone in. This was because Su would occasionally go upstairs to look at these things and reminisce about the time when Huamin had lived in the Su family for a year. Now that the two children had come to stay, it just so happened that they were staying here. After Pudding went upstairs, she slowly walked to the head of the bed. She sat on the big pink bed in a daze. Then she silently took out her phone. She opened the photo album and found a family photo. It was not long ago. One day, Mommy said that the tulips in the yard of South Hill Manor had bloomed and were very beautiful. So, she pulled her cold daddy and the two sisters together. They took many photos in the backyard. The most beautiful of them all was this family photo. Qin Chu and Huamin squatted on the ground. Little Bean leaned in Qin Chu's arms, her chubby little hands wrapped around Qin Chu's neck. Pudding and Mommy's faces were very close. The family of four had smiles on their faces from the bottom of their hearts. Mommy, Daddy, you'll come back, right? Pudding asked in a tender voice. On the other side, Suyu drove his black Lamborghini to the rescue team's site at lightning speed. I'm here to identify the body, Suyu said coldly. Young Master Su, this way, please. A team member took the initiative to lead Suyu to a female body covered with a white cloth. Chapter 2974. To be honest, Suyu's heart was trembling as he walked towards the corpse. He was really scared that the corpse was Huamin. However, he really wanted to take a look. As long as he could deny that it wasn't Huamin, it would prove that Huamin was still alive. At this moment, Suyu's heart was filled with drama. It was like a 100-episode harem drama. It was only a few steps away, but Suyu felt like a century had passed in his heart. Lord Su. Tang Chuan was standing beside the corpse. He saw Suyu from afar and greeted him. Suyu nodded and supported himself as he walked over. I've seen the corpse. I really can't tell anything because the face is disfigured. Take a look. Tang Chuan reached out his hand to lift the white cloth on the corpse. Suyu immediately stopped him. Wait, don't lift it yet. What? I can't take it. Tang Chuan spoke the truth. Suyu glared at him. Does Qin Ming know that you're here to identify the corpse? Of course not. She's been crying all day. If she knew that we found the corpse, she'd cry herself to death. Yeah, let's not tell them about this. I don't think it's Huamin. Suyu comforted himself. But what if it's her? Tang Chuan didn't know what was good for him and asked.
Fuck off.
Shut your jinx. I'm not jinxing you, Lord Su. It's true that Huamin's sister-in-law died. It's true that she jumped in front of us. We have to be mentally prepared at all times. I know you can't accept this fact. To be honest, I can't accept it either. After all, we were eating and drinking together a few days ago. Now that she's dead, I can't accept it either. But sometimes, fate is cruel. It won't stop just because you can't accept it. Tang Chuan's attitude towards this matter was very rational and objective. Suyu knew that he was a sentimental person. He said this not because he was cold or because he didn't have a deep relationship with Huamin. It was because this group of people had gone crazy. They had to leave some rational people behind to deal with the aftermath.
I know.
I understand. Suyu lowered his head. He was very depressed. Young Master Su, we can identify it now. Can you see if this body is the person you're looking for? The captain of the rescue team walked over and said respectfully to Suyu. Okay. Suyu sighed. Then, He reached out his trembling hand and lifted the white cloth covering the body. For a moment, his heart almost stopped. When he was in the army, he was never afraid of military exercises and real bullets. But at this moment, he was terrified. He was really afraid. He was really afraid that this person was Humin. If that was the case, even his last hope would be destroyed. The moment the white cloth was lifted, Su Yu and Tang Chuan both looked over. The body was indeed unrecognizable. Perhaps it was because it had been soaked in seawater for a long time. Therefore, the body was a little bloated. There were no decorations on the hands or the neck. Su Yu remembered that when Humin was in the accident, he didn't have anything on him. It was said that the only Bulgari necklace on his neck was also taken off and thrown away by Huasiqian. So, at first glance, it really did match. I can't recognize it. There are no marks on it. Should we do a DNA test? How should we do it? Should we get Jixin or Mion's mother? Tang Chuan asked. No, when I go back, I'll just get a strand of Pudding's hair. Right? Why didn't I think of that? Because you're stupid, Su Yu scolded. Tang Chuan continued, Lord Su, I don't think this body is Mion's sister-in-law. What do you think? Chapter 2975. I can't say for sure, but it doesn't feel like her. Su Yu examined the body carefully. The face was disfigured, and the length of the hair was about the same as Humin's. However, it had been soaked in the seawater, so it was impossible to tell. The most important thing was the clothes. The clothes should have been easy to tell because when Humin fell, she was wearing a white wedding dress. However, when the female body was found, she was naked. Because she had been in the sea for so long, she had been scraped by the gravel and coral. Therefore, when the female body was found naked, Tang Chuan definitely couldn't accept it. If she really was Humian, how could she let Su Yu see her naked?
How ridiculous would that be?
Therefore, Tang Chuan ordered the rescue team to find a female staff member to change the body into a set of hospital clothes. Therefore, it was impossible to identify her from the clothes. The only thing they could do was a DNA comparison. As long as they could get Pudding or Little Bean's hair and compare it with Humin's, it would be fine. After identifying the body, Su Yu's heart was heavy. Do you want to go for a drink? Tang Chuan asked. No, I have to go back. The kids are still waiting for me. You're not really going to raise them in the future, are you? Tang Chuan suddenly said. Su Yu's heart ached, but he didn't say anything. On the way back, Su Yu received a call from Jixin. Humin's mother kept saying that she was panicking and that she felt that her daughter had disappeared. Jixin could only call Gao Ran and ask. However, whether it was Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling Wei Liao, or Jiang Xiaowei, none of them said a word. Everyone kept quiet about Humin's whereabouts. In the end, when Jixin asked where the children were, Gao Ran said that they were at Su Yu's house. Therefore, Jixin called Su Yu again. It's hard to explain over the phone. Let's talk about it in person. Su Yu decided to tell Jixin about this. After all, he was Humin's younger brother. If something really happened to Humin, then Qin Chu's company and Humin's mother would need someone to take care of them. In a coffee shop near Chuanqi Road, Jixin arrived 5 minutes before Su Yu did. When Su Yu walked in, Jixin politely stood up and greeted him. Big brother Su Yu. Take a seat. Su Yu waved his hand and asked Jixin to sit down. I ordered Americano for you. I heard that you don't like coffee with sugar. Who did you hear that from? Su Yu was a little surprised. It seemed that very few people knew about this little hobby of his. My sister said so. Your sister? Su Yu was slightly surprised. She said that you don't like coffee with sugar. She also said that Americano tastes like Chinese medicine and is extremely bitter. I even joked and asked if there was something wrong with your taste buds. My sister protected you. She said that people who like Americano are all people who can endure hardships. Big brother Su Yu, you're not the prodigal and rich second-generation heir who only knows how to eat, drink, play, and pick up girls. No one can compare to your time in the army. Because of this, my sister scolded me. Jixin smiled. So she said that about me. Su Yu was slightly touched. Yes, although you're not with my sister, she actually treats you as a very important friend and will protect you. She's such a protective person. The more Jishin said this, the more Suyu wanted to cry. He picked up the black and strong Americano and took a big gulp. A strong bitterness immediately spread out from the tip of his tongue. Big brother Suyu, where did my sister go? Why can't I reach her? She's not picking up her phone. And so is my brother-in-law. Jishin finally asked the main question. Chapter 2976. Something happened to your sister. What happened? Jishin immediately became nervous when he heard that something happened to his sister. It's hard to explain in a few sentences. I'll tell you slowly. Then, Suyu told Jishin everything that happened. Jishin's face was covered in tears after he heard it. Big brother Suyu, my sister, she's really dead, right? Jishin asked in a choked voice. We're not sure yet. We're still looking for her. How can she still be alive after falling from that place? You guys know that my sister's gone, right? Jishin's tears were messy. Not necessarily. Maybe a miracle will happen.
How can that be?
Life isn't a movie. How can there be so many miracles? No wonder my mom always says that she's worried. It seems that mother and daughter are really connected. If my mom knows that something happened to my sister, how can she live on? Jishin didn't dare to think about the consequences of his mother knowing everything. Don't tell her for now.
She's old and can't handle shocks.
So you also told everyone not to tell Qin Chu and Huamin's parents. After all, they weren't in good health. Is Qin Chu still in the military hospital?
Yeah.
Suyu nodded. Did the doctor say when he'll wake up? Not yet. Then will he sleep forever? Jishin asked. Suyu couldn't answer. Yes, these were all unknowns, and he had tried his best. As for the specifics, we'll have to see what the specialists from Jing City say. I've already contacted them, and we'll see him later, Suyu said. What about the company? What about the company? Damn it, I don't want to go to work. Life is a mess. Jishin lowered his head and sobbed. I'm here to talk to you about the company. Qin Chu isn't here, so I'll leave it to you. Little Yang and that assistant named Bella are both elites, and they can help you. You still have to run the company well. After all, it's your brother-in-law's hard work. You can't give it up so easily. What if he wakes up and sees the company in a mess? How would he feel? Brother-in-law will wake up, right? But without big sister, waking up might not be a good thing. It might be even more painful. Jishin knew Suyu better than Suyu thought. Suyu didn't know how to continue the conversation with this little fresh meat. Brother Suyu, my two nieces are at your house, right? Brother Gao Ran said that they are at your house. Yes, at our house. I'll leave it to you then. Take good care of them. I will. Suyu gave a very important promise. The truth was, whether or not Qin Chu said those words, he would take good care of the twins at a time like this. That's good. That's good. Jishin nodded vigorously with tears in his eyes. Then, Brother Suyu, I won't disturb you anymore. If brother-in-law wakes up, please call me immediately. Okay. Then, Suyu watched as Jishin walked out of the coffee shop with his head lowered. After walking out of the coffee shop, Jishin burst into tears. He cried from the entrance of the coffee shop to the car, and then he cried as he drove. He even ran at the red light. He lost consciousness. There was only one sentence in his mind, and that was his sister was dead. The sister he loved the most, the sister who had doted on him since he was a child, had left them for another world. Jishin was a stubborn person. He wouldn't be like Suyu, clinging to the last glimmer of hope. Therefore, he was completely sad and heartbroken, so much so that he didn't even have time to fix the steering wheel. Chapter 2977. Luckily, the car opposite them braked in time. He stepped on the brakes and stopped. Are you an idiot? Didn't you see the red light? Do you want to die? The driver stuck his head out and scolded Jishin. However, Jishin didn't care about anything at this moment. He didn't have the mood to care about this. Jishin didn't dare to go home, afraid that his mother would find out, so he went directly to Bella's place. He knocked on the door. When Bella opened the door, she saw Jishin with tears on his face. Oh my God, what happened? Jishin hugged Bella tightly and began to cry like a child. Bella had never seen such a scene before and was scared out of her wits. Jishin, don't cry. What happened? Tell me. Don't scare me. Bella no longer had the usual calmness on her face. Bella, my sister, is dead. Jishin raised his head abruptly, looked at Bella, and said with difficulty, Huh. Bella was dumbfounded. My sister is dead, Jishin repeated. Jishin, don't joke around. It's scary. I have a weak heart. As an employee, Bella didn't know about Huamin's kidnapping, so she didn't know about the cliff. So, when Jishin said it, she was indeed dumbfounded. My sister was kidnapped by Huasiqian, that big bad guy. Then, he dragged my sister and jumped off the cliff. The cliff was thousands of feet high. There was a fierce sea below. My sister was so weak, she must have died. Bella, what should I do? I can't lose her. We grew up together, and I never thought that she would leave me so soon. I used to tease her and say that I'll take care of her when she's old. Tears and snot dripped down Jishin's face. He didn't care about his image at all as he cried. Jishin, where did you get this news? Is it accurate? Bella tried to stay rational. Of course it's true. Big brother Suyu likes my sister so much, he wouldn't joke about something like this. So, it was Suyu who told you. Bella's heart sank when she heard the news came from Suyu. Don't stand at the door, come in and talk. Bella pushed open the door and invited Jishin into the room. Do you have wine? I'm so sad. I want a drink. I don't think drinking will solve the problem. Jishin, what about Qin Chu? What did Qin Chu say about something so important? Bella asked. Brother-in-law is also unconscious. He's still in the military hospital. That's one disaster after another. Bella widened her eyes, unable to hide the deep sadness in her eyes. I really don't know what the future will be like without my sister. What will my mom and I do? We'll probably spend the rest of our lives missing her. And Pudding and Little Bean, they're not even 4 years old. What will they do without their mother? Yes, the child is the most pitiful.
Where is the child now?
Is there anyone taking care of it? Do you want to send it to my house? Bella asked. She's with Big Brother Suyu. I heard my brother-in-law sent her to him before the accident. President Qin is so wise and can think of everything. I really hope he can wake up soon. President whose body hasn't been found and confirmed dead yet, right? I think we should hold on to a glimmer of hope. What if she's fine and was saved by a fisherman just like in the TV series and simply lost her memory?
Bella thought naively.
Don't be silly. Bella, even an innocent person like me won't believe that, Jishin replied in a hoarse voice. Then the two fell silent. In a war-torn country in the Middle East. Boss. Urgent report. It better be urgent, or I'll throw you into the sea to feed the sharks, Lu Yan said in a huff. Your sister? Any news about my sister? Lu Yan was a bit excited. Your sister is dead. The man lowered his head and said carefully, not daring to look at Lu Yan's eyes, You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.